What's going on, and welcome into your explanation of The Last of Us Part 1 and 2. I'm one of your hosts, Nick. That's Brady.
Hello.
And today we are going to be explaining The Last of Us games. We're going to go through the first game. We're going to go through the second game. We might talk a little bit about the TV show. It's going to be a bunch of fun. Brady, how are you doing this morning?
I'm feeling pretty good. It's early. There's a twist to this.
Yeah,
you're gonna hit him with the twist.
There is a twist to this. If you clicked on this video, you can go and obviously tell this is not your normal explanation of The Last of Us. This is a drunk explanation of The Last of Us, where we are going to be taking shots at the start of the first game. We're going to take a shot in between both games. And then, like I said, spoilers ahead, we're going to be taking a shot on Seattle Day 1, Part 2. So if you play The Last of Us Part 2, you know what's up. You know when that is. We're going to get into it. Once again, spoilers ahead. If you have not played these games, this is your point to get out, leave. But if you want to go and hear us discuss The Last of Us, and this is the way you go and interact with this story for the first time, that's also fine by us. Thanks for the click. Thanks for the view.
Yeah, you say spoilers, and then it's like I said earlier, I was like, if this is just somebody that has never played the game or watched the show, and this is just how they're taking in The Last of Us, I'm sorry.
Yes.
It's going to be good, but...
So that's another thing that we need to discuss right away. This is us retelling The Last of Us with some beverages in us. We're not going to get everything perfect. We have notes. We have gone and rehearsed this a couple times. We're going to try our best, but it's not going to be a perfect retelling. It is a drunk retelling of The Last of Us story. Brady's going to handle the first game. I'm going to handle the second game. Will there be tears, Brady?
If we don't cry, we have no souls. So
Yeah.
I was doing my research before this because this game came out like over a decade ago. So I was watching all the cutscenes and just getting up to date, making sure I have everything, taking some notes. And yeah, there was like one part like not early in the game, but like a part I probably even shouldn't be crying at, and I just teared up and I was like, oh my god, dude, this is the greatest story ever told.
I think it's the greatest story ever told. I think that it's the essential piece of video game fiction at this point. Like if you were to go and pick up any console on any any game on any console, I would say, hey, play The Last of Us Part 1. If I have a new partner or something and they're just like, I want to get into video games. You like video games a lot. What do I play? I would say The Last of Us.
It's a fucking movie, dude.
Yeah, it is a movie.
Yeah.
It does get a lot of people do complain that it's a lot more of a movie than a video game. I'm like, it's a phenomenal video game and movie and just piece of fiction. I don't really care where you stand with it at this point. And like HBO's season 1 proves that, yeah, it's just a great story overall. It doesn't need to be played, but it is much better played, especially The Last of Us Part 2. I think that it gets elevated quite a bit by the gameplay and running around Seattle and all that goodness.
Yeah, I was telling you earlier, like last night I was over at Noah's house and somebody there, I told them that we were shooting this video in the morning, and somebody there, it was like, I've never played The Last of Us or watched the show, and I was like, dude, I will give you my PS4 just to fucking play The Last of Us, dude. It's so fucking good. Everybody needs to experience.
Yeah, it's one of the greatest games of all time. So like I said, getting into this, it's 11 o'clock for us right now.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a great time. The spirits will be flowing, and we're just gonna try to get through this as fast as we can.
We're gonna have a day. We got the bonfire on the YouTube TV
in
front of us just to stay warm, have some vibes going. The elimination chamber.
It's so nice.
The elimination chambers tonight. So Nick and I, you can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning.
That's so true.
Nick and I are gonna be drinking, napping, and then drinking some more.
Yeah, we don't have a content shoot on Sunday, which is so rare for us. Like it is
so nice.
I think that I've shot content every Sunday for the past year or no, you've had some Sunday.
Some
double
here
shoots and stuff
but
like
especially since we started the Patreon and everything.
You're
it's
been
ripping pods.
non-stop podcast. There's always stuff to do on Sunday.
Yeah, we told Connor, we were like, dude, we cannot shoot content on Sunday. It's not even just because of this. We're gonna be drunk. It's like the elimination chamber is happening, and it's like we're not watching it sober, dude. Yeah. So it's like we're gonna be hungover.
Here's the thing: it's like I could watch it sober, but I'm probably going to be hung over if I just watch it sober. So it's like might as well keep it going.
Hair of the dog.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, dude.
So we're gonna go hop in. Shot number 1. This is drink number 1.
Cheers. I got Fireball.
I got some Pink Whitney from Co-op Day. I don't drink a lot. That's another thing. Like I do not drink the way I used to in college, and then even early out of college, I've stopped drinking like a lot since then. So we're gonna see how it goes today. By the time we get to The Last of Us 2, which is my job, Brady gets to hang out and drink like 4 beers in an hour, and then He's chilling after that. We're just gonna be hanging out.
We each got the 3 shots, like you said. This is number 1. And then we each have 6 beers in front of us. Do you think you drink all 6 of these?
I think I drink
6 of them.
5 or 6.
I think
it's
you drink.
5 or 6,
I think you drink 6 of them, and then we have 2 more out of the fridge.
Oh goodness. Oh Lord.
I want you to be slurring your words by the time.
By the time we get to The Last of Us 2, like, I think that I have 3 drinks before The Last of Us 2.
Oh yeah. See, that's the hard part is you get to hang out. Well, I'm just mostly yapping. We get to chop it up, but you get to hang out, and it's just like they're gonna be flowing for you.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then you're gonna get to where you have to start talking, and it's like, well, fuck.
It's like when you're at a wedding, you can't go and get drunk before your speech, right?
Oh, yeah,
like you got to make sure maybe you have 1 or 2, but you got to get up there and nail it, and then afterwards,
that feeling,
that's when you get
dude.
to
Like
go.
I've done a couple. I did Connor's wedding. I've done Noah's wedding. I've officiated a couple weddings, and it's just so nerve wracking. Right up until that point, you get 2 beers in you, you're still nervous, and then once you're finished, it's like, let's black out. Like, thank God that's over.
It's game over, dude.
Yeah. All right. Let's get some shots in this fireball.
Cheers, buddy.
Why did I do this? Should we do a little of that? Yeah.
The Last of Us Part 1.
Nick gets mad at me when I burp during podcasts.
You're good.
I feel like this is the one
This is the
freebie.
one.
I get to burp into the pod.
Here you go, buddy.
All right. Let's start
Talking about The Last of
the
Us.
greatest story ever told.
Yeah. All right. When I say the greatest story ever told, I do mean both parts at this point. Like I think that they,
When I say The Last of Us, the greatest story ever told, I mean the entire
Yeah.
thing, front to end.
oh yeah,
I wonder if there will be a third part. Who knows? We'll see.
there will be.
There will be. They
Neil,
could not do it, and I would be happy.
Yeah,
I would almost prefer it at this point.
I would too, but I would say that also about The Last of Us Part 1. Cheers, buddy.
Dude, the cooler and the fucking...
We got a vibe right now.
So, dude, these are like ice cold.
These are ice cold beers.
They're so
ice
right
cold
there.
shots, too.
Dude,
Come on.
This is great. All right. So
good morning. Good morning.
Okay,
dude.
good morning.
Holy hell. right.
I got a new flavor too. That's interesting. It's
Yeah.
the grape. You want to
I'll
try
take a
it?
little sippy.
It's
I'll
not
take a
bad.
sippy.
It tastes like artificial grape, but
It tastes exactly like artificial
like
grape.
a grape Jolly Rancher or something. Yeah.
Honestly, that's dangerous because there's a lot of flavor in that White Claw, and I feel like White Claws sometimes are not the most flavorful punch.
Yeah, I haven't had coffee, and I just did a shot of Fireball.
Yep. Here we
Good
go.
morning.
There you go. Nice.
Burp pod. All right, yeah. Let's start out
Part 1.
The Last of Us Part 1. So, like I said, we're going to do this as if somebody's never heard this story before. So the game starts out, you get introduced to 2 characters right off the bat. You have Joel, he walks into the house, and then you have his daughter. She's asleep on the couch. Her name's Sarah. And Joel's just a hardworking dad, trying to get by. There's no mom in the picture. From what we know,
Yep.
Just nose of the grindstone. He's working hard. He came home late from work. He's just trying to get bills paid. He sits on the couch. Sarah wakes up. She's like, "Oh, what are you doing awake still?" She's she realizes it's his birthday.
Yeah.
She goes, "Oh shit, what time is it?" It's almost midnight. She's like, "Oh, I made it. Let me get you your birthday present." Pulls out his birthday present. Here's your watch. They just have some banter back and forth, and it just shows the love they have, dude.
It's such a good scene.
So sweet. It's such a good scene.
How do you get this money? I sell drugs. Hardcore drugs. Come on.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah. They just have cute, like, just father-daughter banter, and it's so sweet. So yeah, he gets the gift. She falls back asleep, and then I think does he carry her back upstairs? I feel like there's a cute scene where he like carries her upstairs.
Yeah, they go and watch a movie, and she falls asleep.
She falls back to sleep, and then it cuts to you wake up. You're playing as Sarah at this point. It cuts to Sarah. You wake up in your bed. You get up. You wake up to a phone call.
Yep.
You wake up to a phone call from Uncle Tommy. Tommy, Joel's brother.
Absolutely.
And Tommy's like, "Hey, I need to talk to Joel right now. Can you go find Joel? I need to get him on the phone." And he's like, "It's an emergency. It's bad." You can hear it in his voice. And she's like, "All right, I'll go find him." Hangs up the phone. You get up, you start playing as Sarah. You're walking around the house, and the details in this house, it's so nice how Naughty Dog is just the details.
You're actually in a home right now.
Yeah.
And it's not an environment that ever gets used again. You're just in a fucking house. It's awesome.
It really never gets used again. So yeah, you walk around, you start looking for Joel, your dad, because you gotta get him in contact with Tommy. So start looking around the house. You head downstairs. While you're looking around, There's like loud noises outside. You can hear sirens, helicopters, explosions. And then also there's a TV on in your house and the news is on and it's just like breaking news, like
shit's hitting the fan.
Shit's hitting the fan. It's not good. Diseases is spreading. There's a pandemic on the rise. And so you just, it's alluding to everything that's about to fucking happen.
Yeah.
And it's super fucking cool. So you're walking around the house, you're looking for Pops, you're looking for Joel. Yeah. And then you make it downstairs and Joel comes into the house and he's worried. He's like, the neighbor's sick. This is bad. Like, this disease is spreading. And then all of a sudden this neighbor just fucking comes crashing in the house and he's fucking zombed up, dude.
Yep, we got a zombie.
He's one of the first infected. So, he pulls the dad move. It's like when you're in the front seat and the dad holds you when you hit the brakes. So he's like, get behind me or whatever. The neighbor starts going crazy, coming at you. He gets one to the head.
Yep.
Joel pops a cap in his head, protects the neighbor. At this point, Tommy pulls up. They run outside. They're like,
hops in the truck.
They're like, it's happening. The disease is spreading. It's bad. We got to get out of here. So they all hop in the car. Tommy, so you got Tommy, Uncle Tommy, Papa Joel, and Sarah.
Papa Joel. I like this. This is going to be dangerous during like beer number 6.
Yeah.
We got fucking Pops over here.
You got Papa Joel. He's nose to the grindstone, just trying to pay the bills. You got Papa Joel. So they all hop in the car. They're like, we got to get out of here. So they're rolling through this town, just trying to get out of here. There's people waving him down, like, can we please get a ride? And Tommy's like, he's got his heart. Like he's like, let's help these people out. There's a kid, Joel. Like, we need to pick this kid up. And Joel's just like, it's not like he's an asshole, but he's just worried about just his family.
Yeah,
he's like, I need to keep my family safe.
He said, we also have a kid. Keep driving. And you're just like, oh shit, that's okay. So that's establishing this character of, you're right, all he cares about is family.
Yeah. So he's just trying to protect his cubs. And so they're whipping through the town. People are going crazy. Skirt. And on the way through trying to get out, they crash because it's just hectic. People are running everywhere. People are crashing. Buildings are burning. At this point, the military is just like trying to take over and control everybody.
Yeah.
So there's helicopters, military, car crashes. Zombies are running. You can call them. They're not even zombies. We'll call them infected.
Yeah.
They're a special kind of zombie. Infected are running around everywhere. They crash the car. They take off on foot. They split up with Tommy from this point. They're like, you get Sarah to... during the car crash, Sarah hurts her ankle, breaks her leg, whatever. She can't walk. So Joel's like, get on. Pops has got you.
Pops has got
you. So Joel grabs Sarah. Joel heads off on foot. Tommy bounces. He's like, well, you get out of here. Get her to safety. We'll meet back up later. They start running kind of through fields. They just Joel and Sarah at this point, and then they get stopped by just one single military guy.
He's got the
AR. Yeah, he's suited up and everything. He's like, halt. Stop right there. He's like, all right, Joel's pleading, like, please, like, just let us go. At this point, the military's probably freaking out. They're like, we don't know what to do. The military guy's like, calls his radio. He's like, I got 2 people here. And then you don't hear what they say, but he definitely just gets the go ahead. He's like, they're like, eliminate him. Off him. And so Joel's pleading. He the guy lifts up his AR, aims it at him, and Joel says,
please
Joel, it's so sad. Like, dude, it's just the beginning of this whole story. And the soldier opens fire, and he kind of like dad turns, throws Sarah, tries to save her, get her out of the way.
He's trying to go at this point. Joel is trying to literally get shot in the back.
To save her. So he tosses Sarah. They fall. Then the soldier walks up to Joel and like hovers over him almost and like points the gun at him. And am I right? Am I remembering this right? And then Tommy comes out of nowhere, dude. RKO out of nowhere. So this guy's about to blow Joel's brains out, and then Tommy out of nowhere just one to the head for that soldier, drops him.
Don't mess with
don't mess
this
with
family.
Tommy. And then so Sarah's off to the side. Joel's good. Joel didn't get shot. Tommy pops that soldier. Now it's just the three of them reunited, but they roll over to Sarah. Sarah's not doing so hot, dude. Sarah's not having a good day.
Sarah is shot in the chest.
Sarah is shot in the chest, stomach, chest. And this might be the most graphic video game scene in my entire life. And you're fucking 10 minutes into the game at this point. You're like, oh, this is the main character. Like, I love this family. Like, great. The way, like, the voice acting for that, whoever played Sarah, we wrote it down.
Yeah, I have it written.
Whoever played Sarah.
Hannah Hayes played Sarah.
Hannah Hayes, like, she's just like,
yeah, like she's trying. She is crying. She is scared. She understands that she's probably dying right now.
Yeah.
And Joel is trying his best to go and somehow, some way, by the will of God, pray on his knees. Please don't die. It's all gonna be okay, baby girl.
Baby girl. And he's holding her and she dies in his arms. And this, like, the one thing this man lives for, the one, like I said at the beginning, nose of the grindstone. He's working for it. He's paying the bills, trying to make ends meet for his baby girl, and she dies in his arms, dude.
And then it's The Last of Us.
And then it's like, and then boom, it's like, it's the fucking Last of Us. Dude. Maybe the greatest opening to any video game ever.
We shot the top 10 openings list, and I started off where I was like, it's The Last of Us. And it wasn't number one. They gave the nod to BioShock. And I'm like, I love the opening to BioShock. Mystery, intrigue. You go down, you're in a city full of water. It's Rapture. It's great. This, in my opinion, goes and wipes the floor with that opening.
So I'm streaming BioShock right now. And so I've just literally saw the beginning of the BioShock, and there is no way it stands a chance against the beginning of this
BioShock
game.
would be like, in my opinion, it's like top 5. Yeah. No, like, no offense to BioShock, phenomenal opening.
But this is gut wrenching.
This is something that put a pit in my stomach for weeks on end. Where it's just like, gosh, dude,
dude,
what a way to go and throw you into a video game. Like, we're talking about like a 10 to 12 hour narrative. This is in the first 30 minutes. It's like, well, I guess I'm playing for 7 hours tonight.
So, anyway, let's get in the next section. Sarah's gone. Sarah's dead. I wish I could tell you different. I wish she made it, but she did not make it.
Nope.
So
we're moving on to Boston.
So you were moving on to Boston. So that's the intro to the game.
20 years later,
it cuts, and it's 20 years later, and you're like, shit. I thought Joel was already an old guy, and now he's definitely an old guy.
Yep.
So it cuts to 20 years later. Joel wakes up they live in Boston, just like a quarantine zone. It's havoc. The military's trying to take over. You got a group called the Fireflies we'll get into later. Everybody thinks they're the good guys. There's really no good guys in this situation. Joel wakes up and walks Tess. So you got two characters at this point. You got our Papa Joel. He's 20 years older than he was at the beginning, and he's not as spry as he used to be. Tess walks in. Their relationship's interesting.
They're partners.
They're partners.
I think that's...
But partners is a broad term. Like, are they lovers? Do they love each other?
Well,
it's like, I don't know.
I think that in like the broad sense, they're not dating. They might have...
They got bigger fish to fry.
Yeah, like exactly. It's not. They don't have in this world. It seems like time for marriage and relationships. But I do think that like have they made out before or something like that? Maybe.
I mean, you gotta pass the time somehow.
Exactly. And so I wouldn't be. I've always been like when I've discussed this story of. Who are these characters? I always just I'm like they're partners in like the truest form. Like do they love each other? I firmly believe yes.
Absolutely. I would hope so. But Tess walks in. At this point, they're just getting by. They're smugglers. They're trading. They're making runs for people. They're getting their money how they can get it. Getting their rations. Getting their guns. Tess left Joel. She went to go do a thing on her own, and it was trading guns. And somebody stole these guns from Tess. Robert, our boy Robert stole the guns.
Bobby stole the guns.
Bobby sent his people, stole the guns in the middle of this trade. So they're like, we got to go fucking find Robert and get our fucking guns back. So Tess and Joel hit the town, go hunt down Robert.
When you say hit the town, I'm like, yeah, they're dancing. They're
this
going
town
through
is falling apart, dude. The military are fucking killing everybody. They're just running the streets. You got the Fireflies.
But like when you're running around the town too, when you say that, there are literally people being like checked for infected or whatever, and people are dying left and right.
Oh yeah.
It's a rough.
They got the
rough
scanners are scanning people. People are trying to get their rations. People are starving. People are infected. So, and it really does a good job.
Not a great situation.
Not trouble in paradise. Dude. So yeah, they do a great job because you walk through the town for a bit while you're looking for Robert, and they do a good job of depicting just how this world is. It's a dog eat dog world. Like, it's just fucked up. So make it through the town. They hunt down Robert. They're talking to people like, where is this piece of shit? Finally get to Robert. Beat the shit out of them. They're trying to get answers. They're like, where the fuck is our guns? We need guns. We need money. We need to eat. Robert tells him, I sold him to the Fireflies. And basically, so like I said, military's running the show, and then you got a group called the Fireflies. And the Fireflies they like to think they're the good guys. They're like, we're trying to take over.
We're the rebels.
Yeah, we're the rebels. We're trying to take over. But like I said earlier, there's no fucking good guys in this picture. They they think they're the good guys, but they're still pieces of shit just killing to kill.
Robert goes, when he's like getting interrogated by Tess and Joel, it says something along the lines of like, I owed them money. Like, I needed to help them. And then Tess drops the one line of like, you also owed us.
Yeah, you owed us fucking money.
Do you think you made the right decision, buddy? Because right now you're looking pretty rough.
And let me tell you, he didn't make the right decision. After they get the answers they want, where their guns are, Tess also ices them. Yep, pops a cap, hits him in the head. So Robert's out. Body's
gone.
Body's gone. They're just introducing characters and then killing them.
Yep.
You don't love Robert as much as you love Sarah. Whatever. Robert's dead. So
you don't love Robert.
Yeah. So they do know the leader of the Fireflies, a young lady by the name of Marlene. So they're like, let's go see Marlene. Let's see what we're doing with these guns. They go to Marlene, and they're like, Marlene, Robert sold you these fucking guns. We want our guns back. And Marlene's like, that sucks, but I fucking paid for them. Like, I spent my money. Robert's dead. I'm not getting my money back. I'm not just giving you these guns back. I'll give you the guns and then more. I'll give you more than you could ask for if you take this girl and you transport her. We just need you to take her across the country to the Capitol building.
Yeah, no, you mean across the state to the Capitol building.
Across the state.
Yeah. So they're in Boston, but they need to just get her to the Capitol building.
Yeah, they need to go to the Capitol building. Joel's reluctant. Joel's like, fuck this shit. I'm not fucking going. That's a hike and a half.
Well, it's also like, you got to go through the city of, like you said already, is a shit show.
Yeah, it's like you're gonna fucking die on the way.
Yeah.
So Joel's like, no, and Tess is like, we need this fucking money. We need these guns back. The wife's always right.
Yeah.
So they're like, whatever, we'll do it. This little girl is Ellie. This is when Ellie is introduced. They don't know why they're taking this girl across the country. They don't give a fuck. That she's a package. They're just trying to get her there so they can get their money and their guns back. So reluctantly, they decide, like, all right, we'll do this. So they start heading to the Capitol building. On the way, it is exactly how you expected. Infected everywhere. They just keep running into shit shows. On the way, they run into military as well. Military, they're dodging left and right, but they finally get stopped by the militia again. And it's a really graphic scene. They like stop all of them, get on your knees. Yeah. We're going to scan you, make sure you're not infected.
So Joel, Ellie, Tess, they're all on their knees at this point.
Yeah. Getting scanned. They scan. Joel and Tess are like, all right, we're cool. Like, we'll get scanned, whatever. We'll be on our way.
They're like, we can get our. I at this point assumed that they've been in this situation before and got out of it by being like, hey, we'll just pay you off. Like, we can make this work.
So they're on their knees. They get scanned. Clear. Tess, Joel, clear. Get to Ellie. Ellie is the scanner gets up to her, the military guy. She's 13 years old. She's a 13-year-old girl. The scanner gets to her neck. She pulls out a knife. She says, nope, and stabs this guy in the leg.
And we're just like, well, this is the world we live in, I guess.
Yeah. Stabs this guy in the leg. Jess and Toy are like, what the fuck is this 13-year-old doing? So they hop up, save the day, kill the military guys. They're like, what the fuck is up with this 13-year-old girl? Why'd you just stab them? And then they pick up the scanner that just scanned Ellie's neck. And it says infected. They're like, what the fuck? You're infected? Like, they sent us with a goddamn infected girl, like, across the country. And she explained, she's like, no, I've been infected for 3 weeks. Usually it takes a day or two to turn. Like, they're taking me to a Firefly camp so they can use me to find a cure for this disease.
Yeah.
And they're like, what the fuck did we get ourselves into?
They're like, there's a base up in the Boston Capitol.
Yeah,
like,
a base of the Fireflies that can help find a cure.
Exactly. We're going to take her, just up the road basically, and we're gonna get this cure. Easy money. That's what the Fireflies are thinking. But Joel and Tess, they did not sign up for this. They were not ready for this. This was...
They thought they were just taking a girl to school, dude. They're like, I don't know what the fuck we got ourselves into. So, take care of the military. Find out she's infected. They're like, we got to keep going. We just got to make it up to the Capitol building. So they hit the road. Eventually, they make it to the Capitol building, fighting infected along the way.
Real quick, Boston Capitol. Really, really impressive building.
The world building in this game, like we're telling the story right now, so we're just touching mainly on the story, which we're kind of flying over the gameplay because we're not reviewing this game. But holy fuck, the world building and the gameplay,
it is all of it.
The banter throughout the entire game is just so fucking good.
Yeah, like there's that great moment before we get to the Capitol building. It's one of my favorite moments. It's in the TV show too. They basically recreated the shot. It is where they get through the night of like this entire shit show of a night that they just had. They get through the night and it's like daybreak. The sun is rising over the city of Boston. And as somebody that's grown up in Massachusetts for a large part of my life, just like seeing that shot and then also seeing it in the Last of Us TV show, I was like, dude, this game's gorgeous.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so good.
It is so fucking
Remaster
good.
it 12 more times. I don't fucking care.
Right.
I'll keep playing it.
So they make their way to the Capitol building. They pull up just to find out that everybody there that they're delivering this girl to is dead.
Yep.
They're like, they're all gone. They're like, fuck, what are we going to do?
The military killed the Fireflies. The Fireflies killed the military.
Everybody's dead in this building. The Fireflies are dead. They're like, the people we were waiting for to bring this girl to are gone. So they're like, fuck, what are we going to do? And then there's banter back and forth. Tess reveals on the trek there, I said they ran into infected. Tess got bit.
Yeah.
So Tess is infected. She's fucked. Tess is like, Joel's like, let's turn around. Let's fucking go back. Like, we're not doing this. Tess is like pleading with him, like, look at my bite. This happened an hour ago. It's already fucked. Look at hers. It's been 3 weeks. She's fine. Like, I'm fucked.
She's the answer.
She's the answer. You need to do this, Joel. You need to like save humanity at this point.
And when
it's not about the guns.
And when your partner, once again, like I wouldn't say that they're like dating or whatever, but the person that seemingly you love the most in the entire world at this point goes and says, you need to do this. This is my last request. This is all I want. You go and say,
you do it.
Yes.
But Joel's like, no. And then Joel's like, fuck this shit. I'm going home. But as he's like, fuck this shit, I don't want to do that. The military pulls up outside. The military's like, let's get in there. Let's fuck up whoever's in there.
And then Tess goes.
Tess is like, Tess says, please, Joel, go do it. And he's like, fuck it, fine, we're doing it. And Tess is like, I'm not turning into one of these infected. Like, you can see it in her heart. Like, I've seen this happen to people for 20 years
By the
now.
way, in this moment, I've never agreed more with somebody.
Oh,
like,
yeah. So she's like, I'm going down swinging.
Yeah. Like honestly, thank goodness the military showed up because at least I get to go and fend off my friends for a little bit, do something cool.
So she's like, I'm going down fighting. Last stand, dude. She just stays in that Capitol building. And she just like you as you're running away. So at this point, it's the party is Joel and Ellie, Papa Joel and Ellie. You lost a party member. Tess stays back. As you're running out, you can hear them fighting her last stand, and ultimately another character that you got introduced to and you love is gone.
You go upstairs and you sort of see the last stand play out.
Yeah, but you can see it from above. Like they break in the front door. Yeah.
And then you legitimately see her die, which I think the game does a great job of going and like they don't pull any punches when it comes to these character deaths. It's always funny in media nowadays. If you don't see a character die, they're probably still alive, sort of deal. Yeah. This game leaves nothing up to the imagination.
They're like, hey, watch. They like hold your head and it's just the person getting shot.
You're just like, Jesus Christ.
That's so funny you say that because like literally like this is the third character I've introduced that just dies, and you literally visually just watch them get popped in the head.
Well, it's like we go through this game, or at this point, The Walking Dead, peak of its popularity and everything. Brady's done with his second. Thank you for showing editor Nick that you're done.
I got you.
But yeah, it's such an interesting like spot where The Walking Dead, peak of its popularity, but that's TV. Like a character might live that you didn't expect to live or whatever. This game is very much just like no one's safe.
No one's living, baby. If they're dead, they're dead.
They're dead.
So they're running away from the Capitol building while Tess is fighting the military and losing, and and Joel's like, all right, I got a boy. There you go. One down for each of the boys.
Yeah, are you going in for your second one?
I might as well.
Yeah.
It is Drunk Explains.
It is not Sober Explains. That would be a very lame video title.
So, yeah.
Can you imagine that thumbnail?
Two idiots try to explain The Last of Us. At least if we get drunk, we have an excuse to be idiots.
Yeah.
Like,
Real quick, I do want to throw this in. It's in our notes and everything. The infected, you did bring them up. There's two different type of infected. There's your normal ass infected, and then you got the clickers. That is the icon symbol.
I think I wrote in. Yeah, here I wrote in a little bit.
You did
later.
a great.
Let's go over it. So this infection, like you got your regular bite zombies. Like this infection special. It's like it's basically
it's a fungal infection.
It's a fungal infection that like basically just takes over your brain and starts controlling your body.
I want to now bring in the TV show real quick because the TV show I think does the best job ever explaining all this stuff. Where you go and you have the TV show go and be like, hey, it is very like it can go and mess you up. It can take over your brain. It is worse than like a bacterial disease or a virus. This is something that can go and legitimately like you're still in there, but you're not really like it is so messed up. It is a slow burn. It's terrifying. It's legitimately, in my opinion, like more terrifying than any other piece of fiction because there's some level of reality to it where they're like, if these cordyceps, I believe, heat up enough, they will go and be able to take over and like want to spread and they will destroy the earth.
And they won't even spread from bites. Like there's spores that float around. If you breathe this thing in, it's like you're fucked. And, yeah, the way the show depicts it's really cool. Like the way like the cordyceps starts growing and just like crawls up your body and starts taking over your entire body.
The once again, the TV show I think is phenomenal. The first scene of the show is a great way of explaining what this infection can do, but the second one where they bring in the expert on outbreak day and she goes in, they ask her to like, what do we do? And she just goes, bomb. And you're just like,
bomb, kill everybody. You're fucked.
Yeah, like just
this is a real life infection too. Like this exists in real life,
but
like,
it's not.
It's not for humans. Like it doesn't take over humans. It takes over like bugs and stuff. It's a fungal infection that'll take over bugs and stuff like that. So that's a crazy aspect. For the infected, it gets so once it takes over, it's like you got your regular just like infected. The longer you're infected, the worse you're getting. So like Nick said, I think the first stage is just regular infected, and then you turn into a runner where you're just like you're a fast infected.
You are your classic zombie.
Yeah, you're a classic zombie at this point, and then after that, the stage is you're a clicker is what they call it, and then you're just like a slow. Monodical, just like your head's all fucked up, and like you make this. We were trying to do.
I do the sounds.
We were trying to do the sounds, and it's like you can't do it. They just make this. That's actually really good. Yeah,
why not?
They make this crazy noise. You gotta hit them in the head to kill them.
Well, and the way that they work is they can't see, but through sound they're using. Oh my gosh, I want to say supersonic. That's just so wrong.
Supersonic, hypnotic.
But whatever the terminology is for listening through sound, it's the way that bats listen, I believe. That is how they go and are able to. So it honestly makes for terrific gameplay moments.
Because you hear that clicking noise. It's like you gotta sneak.
It's terrifying, but then you got to sneak around.
You can use bottles and like bricks to like throw to distract them and stuff.
Because they're going to be attracted to that sound, and then they're going to go and mess them up.
And then of course after that you got your what they call a bloater, which is just a fucking
big boy,
hunky boy. Just just as he's been infected since day one.
Next time I work out, when I got a good pump in and the arms are looking a little bit big, call me a bloater. Be like, hey,
what's up, my bloater?
You're a big
boy. So we leave the Capitol building.
We're going to Billstown.
This time we're going to Billstown. They're like. We mentioned Uncle Tommy earlier. Tommy and Joel, when shit hit the fan, Sarah died. They split up. Tommy said, "I want to join the Fireflies." Yep. Joel's like, "I'm not fucking joining the Fireflies." So Tommy left. Tommy took off with the Fireflies. Joel's like, "All right, at this point, the only tie I have to the Fireflies, besides Marlene and these people we were supposed to meet, is my brother. So we're going to Wyoming because that's where my brother is. We're heading to Wyoming, but." We're leaving the Capitol building. We need to get to fucking Wyoming somehow.
Yeah, we gotta get a car.
He's like, I got a boy named Bill. Bill owes me a favor, apparently. Bill can get us a car. So we're heading to Bill's town. Does it ever specify where Bill's town is? I don't think it does.
It's on the outskirts of Mass.
So Bill lives on the outskirts of Mass. They head to Bill's town. They pull up to Bill's town. They start rolling into the town. Bill is just booby trapped the fuck out of this town.
It is so cool.
So
it is in my opinion, like when people talk about like what they would do in a zombie apocalypse situation, like this guy did the damn thing, like where he's like, I'm gonna get in town, I'm gonna booby trap it, I'm gonna live my own life, I'm gonna be chilling, it's gonna be a great time.
Yeah. So as they're making their way trying to find Bill through this town, they're just running into not only fucking infected, but also just Bill's booby traps. Bill's booby traps sounds like a good like company you could start.
Yeah, Bill's booby traps.
It's got a good ring to it.
They go and honestly, that would be like a good like exterminator. Like,
yeah. Bill's booby traps.
Bill's booby traps.
So they're running into these booby traps. And in the midst of all that, shit's hitting the fan. Bill pops up. He's like, "All right, you fucking idiots! Like, let me help you and save you because you just keep running into booby traps and infected." So Bill finds them, brings them to safety, and Joel's like, "Hey, you owe me a favor." Bill's like, "That's fucking funny. No, I don't owe you shit. But anyway, I'll help you out." Joel's like, "I need a car." Bill's like, "Good fucking luck. We need to find all these parts in order to get you a car." So they roll around Bill's town. They get all the parts for a car. Bill hooks them up with all kinds of equipment. They get their car. In the midst of all this, do we want to touch on Bill's lover?
So all of a sudden we just see a guy in one of the houses in Bill's town. This is like after going to high school to get the car battery and getting the parts and all that. And they see a guy strung up. He's hanging. He's wearing a fun Hawaiian shirt.
He's not alive at this point.
He's dead. And Bill at this point says, that was my partner.
Yeah.
And in this scenario, partner does carry the weight of like very clearly they are romantic partners.
Yeah, during the show, like it alludes to it during the game. The game it alludes towards like that was my partner. But
during the show,
it's like they're
episode 3
lovers.
of the TV show is
it's like
this is one of the best TV shows.
This is the love of my
ever.
life.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's like fuck that. Like, and there's banter between Bill and Joel at this point, and Bill's like, you shouldn't take care of anybody. Like, you should be alone because it's like people are just gonna hold you back. It's just another mouth to feed, basically. And you can tell he's just carrying that weight of like, I loved somebody once, and now that person is dead, and you just see this person hanging from the building, and you feel the pain.
Yeah, this man is like legitimately, and once again, I love that they flesh him out on the TV show. It's like this man carries so much hate in his heart. Like he was already like rough around the edges, and then the show they're able to be like, he's rough around the edges, and Frank, the person that is hanging there, it was the person to like melt him down a little bit. Right. And then now that he's gone, he's like, I'm back.
Who played Bill in the TV show? Do you know that actor's name?
Oh my god, it's Ron Swanson.
It is Ron Swanson. That's good enough.
I need
you need the answer.
Why can't I can look it off my head. Oh, yeah. I got it. You're explaining.
Ron Swanson, dude, fantastic. To play that character, he does such a good job. So
it's Nick Offerman.
Nick Offerman. I'm so bad with actors' names, dude. Nick Offerman does such a good job. So get the car from Bill, and we hit the road. We're heading towards Wyoming. We're going to find Uncle Tommy. We're going to figure out what to do with Ellie.
And so, of course, we just go to Wyoming, and then we find a cure, and then the game's over, right?
Yeah, boom. Yeah. That's game one. I wish it was that easy. And at this point, like I said earlier, like Ellie is nothing more than a package to get the guns back, to get my money back. At this point, they know she has a cure, but Joel still has that chip on his shoulder. Like, I lost my daughter. I'm not loving anybody. And so like they just the relationship is not good
for Tess, but he's doing it not for I want to help this person out. He's doing it
at this
for
point,
himself.
He's doing it for himself. He's doing it for Tess, like you said, mostly. At this point, I don't even think he's doing it to get the guns back. Like he's doing it because Tess went down died with it for this to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, they got the car. They hit the road. We do have to talk about the pages sticking together.
Oh, dude. Well, this is where it starts, dude. Right?
Yeah.
This is the dynamic that gets discussed all the time as one of the best dynamics in all of video games. Is Joel and Ellie's dynamic, and Joel is super hard headed in this moment. He's like, we just want to hit the road. I want to listen to my old country music that I found a tape of. Like, I'm just trying to vibe out, and then there is a porno magazine in the back of the car, and
Ellie's flipping through it.
Ellie's just like, I want to see what all the fuss is about. And then it has the great line of, why are these pages sticking together? And Joel's just immediately dead face and is just like, it's just like, I'm just fucking with you. Tosses it out the window, and immediately you start to get this dynamic that you're going to inevitably throughout the game fall in love with, which is like, these characters they need each other to some regard. Like they are in a very odd way. Like that relationship with Sarah is starting to come back a little bit, which is that father-daughter dynamic.
This is like, the start of it. Yeah. Like, I mean, like, Joel's still a grump ass, but like,
exactly.
It's like, all right, he can open up a little bit. Like he can have a little bit of fun.
I love
Ellie has that same like demeanor as his daughter did. Like as at the beginning of the game, I mentioned they like banter back and forth, making funny jokes.
Because like it's a similar regard. Like his daughter makes a joke about drugs and selling drugs, which is obviously like, you don't want your 14-year-old daughter going making jokes about drugs and everything, but it's also like, no, that's just their relationship, that's their dynamic. And so in a similar light on something a little bit more taboo, it's the same exact thing of like, I'm gonna make a quick joke about this and just fuck around with you because that's the dynamic that they have as characters.
Exactly. So yeah, Ellie, very similar to his daughter. Also, if you didn't get the joke, she stole that magazine from Bill.
Yeah, it's in Bill's car and everything.
Bill,
yeah.
So pages are stuck together.
Bill's
having a good time. So they hit the road. Like you said, if only it was easy enough for them to grab that car, get to Wyoming.
They're to Wyoming, and then the game's over. They found a cure. It's great.
I wish that was the case, but it's not the case. On the way to Wyoming, there's a cute little town called Pittsburgh.
Have you ever been to Pittsburgh?
I actually have not been to Pittsburgh.
I've also not been to Pittsburgh. I was gonna go this past summer to hang out with a friend, and then
it's not that far.
It's really close. And then just this thing called Co-op 64 just took over my life in a way that I was not able to travel for a weekend. So
cheers to that,
cheers, buddy.
So they pull up to Pittsburgh, and then while they're pulling up to Pittsburgh, some bandits, they're not Fireflies, they're not military, they're just out there trying to get their own like everybody else. The way they actually this takes place is they pull up to Pittsburgh. This guy acts like he's hurt. Joel's like, I've seen this shit before. He's not hurt. He's just trying to steal our shit and kill us.
Yeah, this also is the trailer from this is the Last of Us trailer.
So Joel's like, Ellie's like, let's stop, let's help him. Joel's like, we're not doing that. Joel starts flying by. A bunch of other guys pop out.
Joel rams the dude that is acting hurt.
Yep, it rams the dude. A bunch of other people pop out. They ended up crashing. Car gets fucked. They crash. Bandits attack them.
You fight them off.
You fight them off. You take care of the bandits. At this point, though, you're like, we're walking. We ain't got no car.
Yep. And then as they're trying to escape, they run into two other survivors.
Oh my god, dude, we're cooking through this story. I didn't even realize we're at this point, and now I have to talk about this. Yeah. All right, so they're in Pittsburgh.
Cooking through this story. We're like 30 minutes in, dude. We're not like cooking.
I know. Yeah, we're not cooking, but dude, it's too good. We can't miss a beat. Yeah, so you run into you're in Pittsburgh. You're like, we're going off by foot. Pittsburgh is littered with bandits and such.
You're fighting I feel like in Boston, when you're going through like the hotel or not hotel, just like these tall buildings and it's night, is a lot of infected. Yeah. Pittsburgh is a lot of people that you're fighting off.
Bandits, like people hanging out.
You know, you said it really well. They're just trying to get theirs. They're just trying to get by.
Like I said, nobody's good, dude. You're just surviving to survive. Can't trust anybody. So, littered with bandits, you're trying to make your way out of Pittsburgh. You run into these two other people. And at this point, you don't fucking trust anybody. You're like, it's either Firefly, military, or bandits. But you happen to stumble upon these two characters, Henry and Sam, and it's just people that are in the same similar position that you are. It's an older gentleman, middle-aged gentleman.
I think it's probably like late 20s, early 30s.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, and
he's about Brady's age.
Yeah. And then his little brother, who's a similar age to Ellie, and he's like,
Ellie, it's large enough age gap where they're not like the same age. Ellie's 14. I think Sam is roughly like 11-ish, but like they're both kids still. Yeah. They're both able to have like in that age where like they're just having fun and chilling. Yeah.
So Henry's the older brother.
Yep.
Sam's the younger brother. They're also trying to get out of the city, and they're like, let's work together. Let's try. Henry's like, I know there's a radio tower right here. He's got a map. He's like, if we make it to this radio tower, there's supplies. We can get there right outside of the city. We'll go from there. He's like, here's the schedule of the people watching the city. They switch over this time. We're going to get out.
Henry's dialed in.
Henry's dialed in. They're like, all right, let's do it. Night breaks. They're like, let's get out of here. Head to the radio tower. So as a group, you got 4 people. You got Henry, older brother, Sam, younger brother, and then you got our Papa Joel, and you got you got infected Ellie, infected Ellie, cure for everybody.
Savior of humanity.
Savior of humanity. Just the golden child. You're just you're carrying across the country,
trying to make it happen, trying to make it work. By the way, the funniest part of this entire stream has been we have the fireplace up,
it's
and then
nonstop
every now and then ads.
It's literally just ads. I haven't looked at it once. So yeah, you work together. Obviously, it's not as easy as it sounds to get out of the city, but you do get out. You run into bandits. You run into infected on the way.
You have a moment where Joel is just sniping people up top.
Yeah, Joel's sniping people. He's like, "I'll cover you guys. You get out of here." Joel's sniping people. They get out. They split up at one point. Wait, what?
Sorry, this is also where Ellie gets a gun for the first time.
Ellie gets a gun. He's like, Ellie.
He trusts her enough at this point. There's a sequence in which she gets a gun. I don't think we have the notes written down, but this is in Pittsburgh is where I believe Joel decides to trust her enough to get a gun. That's also the case in the TV show.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
I thought it was maybe the next session. You might be right. You might be right.
Yeah, I might be wrong also. Once again, we did not promise accuracy. We promised a great time. She gets a gun at some time, and that shows that they trust each other, but it might not be.
But yeah. So anyway, they make it out of Pittsburgh, get to the radio tower, fighting infected, fighting bandits on the way. However, they get there. Joel's pissed because did Joel almost drowned at this point? Joel's
been through the
ringer. They split up, and then Joel's pissed off at Henry because it's like, you just got us through the shit. Like, you got us into a mess.
Yep.
But just Henry's basically like, did you die though?
Yeah.
Did
Joel
you die?
does almost drown at this point.
Joel.
I thought we're through it. Yeah.
We're pretty up there. Joel. Yeah. Getting out of Pittsburgh, Joel almost drowns. They pull him out. They save him. Joel's like, Henry, you fucking just left us, and Henry's basically like, you would have done the fucking same thing to save you the one you love.
And in that moment, Joel's like, fuck, dude.
He's like,
you got me.
Fuck, you're right. Like
yeah, 100%.
You're right. And then, all right, they're like, whatever. You're on the edge of the radio tower at this point. So you get up to the radio tower. You're all together. You get all the supplies you need. Do they sleep in the radio tower?
No, they go to a motel.
I think they hit the radio tower, get all the supplies they need, and then they make their way to a motel to crash for the night. They get in there, they crash for the night. At this point, Joel and Henry chopping it up. They're talking about motorcycles. Yep. And Ellie's like, there's a cute little scene where Ellie's like, you two need to get a fucking room.
Yeah,
let me leave.
Adorable right now.
Yeah, so they're chopping it up. Ellie's like, I'll leave you two alone. Sam's hanging out in the other room. She's like, I'm going to go hang out with Sam, chop it up with him. She walks in. Sam's being a little off-putting. Sam's like, something's off with Sam now.
Because Sam before was always like,
he was
super
chipper.
gleeful.
Yeah. He was like, I'm a kid. Like, oh shit, another kid. Like, let's chop it up.
Yeah,
somebody my age.
Exactly, right?
And Ellie's like, something's off right now. And sure. At this point, it's nighttime. They're going to bed. Sam doesn't tell anybody. Sam doesn't tell a soul. But Sam, during the entire time getting out of Pittsburgh, at some point, Sam got bit.
Yep.
Sam's fucked, to say the least. So Sam got bit. Everybody goes to sleep. Sam in the morning turns. Joel, Henry, everybody wakes up. Sam turns. Sam starts attacking Ellie.
They're like wrestling, trying to fend it.
Sam's like, they're like, what's up with Sam? And Sam's like,
yeah,
and then starts fucking attacking Ellie. And Henry is just putting Joel goes for a gun.
Well, I was about to say this scene happens real quick. What Brady's about to describe happens in the span of like 12 seconds.
This all happens in like 12 seconds. So a lot happens. Happens a lot faster than I'm about to tell you. But Sam wakes up infected, fucked. Everybody is up at this point. Sam attacks Ellie. Sam's like on top of Ellie. It's like, and Joel goes for his gun. Henry is in quite the fucking predicament.
Yep.
My brother, the only reason I'm alive right now is fucked. And he's like, in now this man that I barely know is about to shoot him. Sam's gone at this point. Henry stops Joel. Don't grab that gun. I think he fires a
he
shot.
fires the
He's
gun
like,
in between.
Joel's like, I don't give a fuck. At this point, Joel, you could tell, like, cares about Ellie, cares about the package, cares about the mission.
Because once again, we've had some moments in Pittsburgh, we've had some moments on the way where their dynamics building a little bit.
Exactly. It's built. It's definitely building.
Yeah.
Joel goes for the gun anyway. Henry says fuck it, fires the shot, kills Sam.
So yeah,
there's like a scene where you don't know who he shoots.
There's a great moment where Joel is going for the gun, and you're expecting another, and then all of a sudden, bang, another shot goes off, and you're just like, wait, like there's two other people in the scene.
Yeah.
You see Joel, and then you realize Henry took the shot and
Henry
killed
took
Sam,
the shot, and Henry kills Sam,
his brother,
his own blood. And at this point, he's just beside himself. He's like, what the fuck did I just do? Like, I killed my brother. And he's aiming the gun every which way at Joel, and he says, fuck this, and he turns it on himself, and he kills himself.
Which we should have probably had to start this, but like, this is a heavy ass game.
Yeah, we're gonna get demonetized.
This is definitely one of those that, like, just a reminder of, like, yeah, this is M-rated, very heavy,
very
and
M-rated.
This was the moment in the game where, for me, that I was like, holy shit, like, it rocked me to a core in a way that I'm like, yep, like. Well, the impossible situations, and I feel like the reason that this game is better than a lot of other stories, and especially at the time where, once again, this 2013, we're at the peak of zombie fandom. A lot of people really love the genre. There's a bunch of different iterations, and once again, I think at this point, The Walking Dead is the biggest show on TV. That's like the pinpoint one. There's a bunch of other zombie shit happening. Things like, I mean, you can even say like Dead Space. And like the being aliens and stuff like that. There's a lot of horror love happening right now. And going and playing this, the reason that it hits home, even though there's tropey moments, is the characters are so well written. So Henry and Sam, they do a great job throughout Pittsburgh making you care a shit ton about them. And so when Henry kills Sam, immediately you are emotionally gut punched straight in the ribs. And then you are without oxygen. Your lungs are completely tightened already. You're breathless. You're speechless. And then without, like, you have like 4 seconds of Joel being like, I didn't do this. You didn't do this. And then Henry turns the gun on himself.
Yeah.
And like you already didn't have any air left to breathe.
You're like, fuck, a kid's dead. The Sam's dead.
Yeah, like,
and
like
Henry's just like,
and then it's just
guess
like,
what, bitch? Me too.
Yeah, like it's so intense. It's so much, and it's nonstop.
It's not. Yeah.
This game. So here we are. Here's the thing. Bill survives, by the way. Bill's hanging out. In Bill's town.
Bill's like, I'm locked up in my town. Like, I'm not fucking leaving.
But we have Sarah iced, Tess iced, Sam and Henry in the span of 2 seconds iced.
People, like, you love. Just
like this game does a great job of making phenomenal characters that they then rip away from you so fast. And I think that the pacing of this game gets brought up pretty often. Of like, sometimes it's paced a little bit too fast. I want those character dynamics to grow a little bit more. For me, every single time on this playthrough, on my first playthrough, on my latest playthrough, I played this game. I always say over 10 times. I think we're getting closer to 20, by the way. I think I'm like at 17 or 18 times where I played The Last of Us 1. Every single time, it still works for me.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's like the whole purpose of the game. It's like here's people
build
you
these
love.
characters.
It's the world we live in.
Right when you start to love them, we're gonna take them away.
It's like,
from
dude,
you.
it's the world they live in. It's like, dude, like people are dying left and right. They're going on this journey, and most of the people that are like, here, you're going on this journey. It's like, you're gonna fucking die. Like, you're dying on the way. There's no reason you should be doing this. And Joel's in his mind, back of his mind, is like, I agree, but Tess wants me to do this, so I'm doing this. So Henry, Sam gone.
We're going to Thomas.
The scene cuts black from there, and it picks up with Joel and Ellie making their way to Uncle Tommy.
So we're going to the dam.
So they're on like it picks up with them pulling up to Uncle Tommy, who are at Uncle Tommy no longer Firefly. He's married. He's a family man now. They've created their own town. It's not a Firefly. They're pretty good people. They're self-sustaining. They've got farms. They got all this good stuff. They pull up, and at this point, this is Joel's like wit's end. He's like, we've made it. Tommy, he has links to the Firefly. Here, take Ellie. You worry about the package from here.
Yep. This is the boiling point of the game where it's like through Pittsburgh, through Billstown, Joel started to care about Ellie,
yeah,
but he also still has enough of that rugged exterior to be like, I care about her. I cannot care about her enough.
He won't
where
allow
I will
himself
throw
to
my
care
life
about it. He won't allow himself to care about her enough. So Tommy, like I said, not a Firefly anymore, has a self-sustaining thing, but still has links with the Firefly. He's like, I know where they're at. I'll take her there. Tommy's wife's pissed. Tommy's like, I don't want you to fucking leave. Tommy's like, he's my fucking brother. I got to do this for him. So Tommy's like, I'll take Ellie. Ellie, in the midst of all this, realizes what's happening. She's like, you're fucking pawning me off on Tommy and having Tommy take me. It's like, I thought we've been building a relationship. I care about you. So Ellie's upset. Ellie, in the midst, before they like Tommy takes her to leave, steals a horse from Tommy's town, takes off. Is like, fuck all of you. I'm running away. Tommy and Joel hop on a horse, follow her, hunt her down. She ends up just hiding in a house. She's pouting. Joel goes.
She's as Joel walks in, she's reading a diary of the person of a teenage girl
that lived there.
Of another 14-year-old that is just like, this is what they used to care about. What shirt went with what skirt. And
I mentioned earlier, I cried at some point, or I teared up at some point. While watching cutscenes and stuff, and this is one of the parts. So Joel walks up and she's upset. She's like, you're fucking leaving me with Tommy. And she's like, she brings up his daughter, and he's like,
you are walking on mighty thin ice.
He's like, I know you lost. Sure, she's like,
she's gone.
She talked to Tommy's wife, and Tommy's wife told her about Joel's daughter, Sarah, that we talked about. I told her the story. And Ellie's like, I know about your daughter. Like, I'm not your daughter. I can't be your daughter. But I've experienced losses. I've experienced loss as well. Like, I know what you've been through. And Joel's like, you don't fucking know what loss is.
Yeah.
And Ellie's like, I've lost my parents. I've lost everything. I've lost everybody that cares about me.
Everyone I cared for has either died or left me. Everyone fucking except for you.
I got chills right now.
It is, in my opinion, this is the most important scene in the entire Last of Us series, except for the last scene in part 2. It is Ashley Johnson, Troy Baker, who play Ellie and Joel.
Yeah.
They are both top of their game. I have full chills right now.
I have full chills
top
too.
of their game.
Yeah,
they are acting their asses
Ellie's like,
off.
Joel's like, you don't know what loss is. Like Nick said, Ellie says, everyone I've ever cared for has either died or left me. Everyone fucking except for you.
Yeah.
And then Joel's like, plays grump ass still. Joel's like, you're right. You'll never be my fucking daughter.
Yeah.
And then Joel's like,
and I'm sure
you're going, and I'm sure as hell not your dad. And it's just like, oh fuck, I thought they were about to be friends, and they are not. And they are not. So they start. He grabs her, hops on the horses, heads back towards Tommy's town. At this point, you're like, Tommy's taking Ellie. Tommy's completing the mission. They get to the edge of the town, and Tommy's like, all right, this is it. I'll see you, older brother. And Joel's like, you know what? Ellie, hop on. Tommy, I'm taking one of your horses. Thanks, brother. Ellie, I'm completing the mission from here. And
they're going to Colorado.
And Ellie's like, oh, sweet. So Tommy points them in the direction. Tommy still has connection to the Fireflies. Tommy says, at the University of Eastern Colorado, there's a group of medical team. They'll know what to do with her. Take them there.
And as we're going to the medical team, they're on this horse. And until the next gameplay moment, large gameplay moment, Ellie and Joel are chopping it up.
The relationship,
they are building bonds. I love the moment of Joel telling what Ellie's Joel telling Ellie what football is and like explaining the rules of football. Because if you were to explain the rules of football to someone that doesn't know, it's highly fascinating.
Because at this point, the infection's been there for 20 some years, and she's 13 years old. There ain't no football.
There's no one playing two-hand touch in the backyard, right?
NFL is not making it right now.
You're not here. Like, it's not happening.
Yeah, red zone's not a thing.
Scott Hans is not out
the witching hour is real.
Oh, we're about to hit the witching hour, dude. Goddamn.
So they start heading towards the University of Eastern Colorado, trying to find the Fireflies, and
they don't.
They don't.
But they find a map. They know that they're heading elsewhere. They're heading to a
of course they get to the University of Eastern Colorado. Everybody there is also dead. They find a map. They're like, all right.
Which I've talked to people about the story that have played the game many times and know the game well. I've heard the people being upset, just being like, I thought that they were gonna go and like, why is it always that everyone's dead? And for me, I'm like, that is this world.
Yeah,
shit always goes down. People always die.
Yeah,
no one gets a happy ending. Everyone's dead because that's just how this game works.
They pull up to the University of Eastern Colorado, and everyone's dead. There's voice recordings, there's notes, there's maps. They put together. Everybody's in.
We're going to Salt Lake.
Everybody's in Salt Lake City, Utah. That's where the hospital is now. That's where you got to take Ellie. That's where we're going to find the cure. In the midst of all this, some bandits pop up. They're like, they're trying to take Ellie and Joel's shit. They get in a scuffle. You're kind of like dodging, rolling, trying to get around, trying to take out these bandits one by one. In the midst of all this, Joel, he falls off a big ledge. And
he falls off a second story.
He falls off a second story.
Yeah.
And trying to get away from these bandits, trying to handle these bandits. And he gets absolutely impaled in the stomach. Just a full fucking shard of metal.
Yeah.
He falls on top of and is just impaled into his stomach.
Yeah. It's a like rod that is sticking out from concrete. Well, if you ever look at concrete, there's normally two rods within it to go and like hold the structure together. And this thing goes from back through his front all the way through. It is gross.
And then for some reason I thought this is where Ellie got the gun, but it might have been earlier.
It's earlier. I think
I think it was earlier where somebody was trying to drown Joel and Ellie popped him in the head. So Ellie
starts fending off.
Ellie starts fending off, takes care of all the bandits that are there, gets Joel
on the horse.
Got to get that giant shard of metal out of his tummy. Gets Joel on the horse, throws him over. At this point, like it's just you're going in and out of cutscenes and stuff.
And
like consciousness. Joel is not doing good.
Joel's at a solid like 2 out of 10, right?
A 2 is generous.
Yeah, and a 2 might be generous.
Dude's about to die.
Yeah, I've had many Sundays I've woken up. I've never woken up that bad. All right, it's a tough
Tomorrow
one.
I might be in Joel's position.
After this, an elimination chamber? Are you kidding me? What's up, buddy? How's it going? Doug explains. Oh, we're here, everyone.
So, throw Joel on the horse. Took care of the bandits. Goes black. And the game pulls back up, and it's same. It's pretty much what?
It's winter and a rabbit. You know,
it's the same. Yeah, it pulls back up with Ellie. This is where they introduced the bow. Ellie pulls back up. Ellie's got a bow and arrow. Just got a rabbit. She's hunting right now. It's snowing. They just have a shelter somewhere. I don't know.
It's a random house
in the mountains,
most likely
in the mountains,
by where the salt or where Eastern Colorado is. Because I assume that they didn't go too far from Eastern Colorado with Joel's corpse at this point.
Right. Yeah. She's hunting. She's basically just taking care of Joel at this point, hoping he doesn't die. She's getting food. She's tending to him, and while she's hunting, she kills a deer, and then 2 other guys show up. And they're like, their names are David and James, right?
Yep. James, aka in the show Buddy Boy, is played by the Baconator himself, Troy Baker, who is Joel.
Who voices Joel.
Which I forgot about that. It's a great moment where I'm just like,
I know
it's great. And he does a great job. Troy Baker is a voice actor. He's a phenomenal voice actor. He's the A-list of video game voice actors. But to see him in an HBO show, I was like, that's fucking awesome. Good for him.
Especially to be a part of the story that he was the main character of. But to be like that character is so cool.
For me, it's cooler because he's actually playing a character compared to like it's a cameo. Like if you know, you know. It's like no, he's in this episode for like 20 minutes.
So at this point, we're fucking.
We're
almost to where we need to get Ellie. You think?
Yeah.
Because at this point, you've got her to 3 locations, and none of them worked out. Everybody's dead.
Yep.
But Ellie's tending to Joel. She's hunting. While she's hunting, she kills a deer. 2 guys pull up. James and David. They're like, we could use that deer for our people. Like we need the food. And is there anything we can barter with? Like
whatever it
takes. And she's like, medicine. I need medicine because Joel's got a hole in his stomach.
Yep.
If you have antibiotics, I need them. And they're like, yeah, we can do that. David's like, we can do it. We'll take care of you. You give us this deer. We'll give you medicine. Ellie's very off-putting at this point because, like Joel, she's been taught by Joel. She doesn't trust anybody. She's holding them at gunpoint. David is basically the leader of the group. You get the sense, and is like, James, go get medicine. Go grab medicine. I'll stay here at gunpoint.
It's such an interesting dynamic at this point because James, like, sort of my read on it has always been James is sort of just like, let's just kill him and get the deer, dude.
And David's like the good guy.
And David, in my opinion, at this point, and as we learn, is a creep and everything.
We learn,
but like he's like, no, like I'm gonna stick around and stuff like that. It's just such a awkward scene, but like, and through all of it, you're seeing it through Ellie's eyes of like, she's not trusting anyone for a moment, and rightfully so. These dudes are strangers. This world's fucked up, and like, but I do need the medicine for Joel, so I'm gonna stick around.
If I could explain David in one phrase, David is that where my hug at guy.
Yeah, he's a creep, dude.
He's a creepazoid. Yeah. So James runs off. He goes gets the medicine. Ellie and David are chopping it up at this point while James is grabbing the medicine, and Dave, just being the creepy is just talking to Ellie, but he's like, yeah, a couple of my buddies actually went out and they were hunting for food and supplies, and they got killed. They got killed by a man and a little girl. And David says that the bandits that we fought in Pittsburgh, those were.
I thought it was Colorado.
Not Pittsburgh.
Colorado.
In Eastern
bandits.
Colorado. Right before this, when they were in Eastern Colorado, where Joel got impaled, those bandits, quote unquote, were David's men out getting supplies. And so you're kind of like on edge at this point. Like Ellie's like, oh shit, like I killed a bunch of this guys, dudes. And
it's gross. It's a tough situation.
It's a tough situation. James shows back up at the perfect time.
Here's some medicine.
Here's your thing. James is still like basically like, why don't we just kill this girl? David's like, no. And David, after like revealing that those were his people and he knows that Ellie killed him, he was like, it's okay. I know it's not your fault. You're just a kid.
Yeah.
But in the back of your mind, you're like, it's not okay. This guy's crazy. Yeah. But so you get the medicine. She dips out of there. They get their deer. You think they're going their separate ways. Ellie gets back to Joel, injects him with some antibiotics. And then it cuts to the next morning. They like go to sleep. It cuts to the next morning. The next morning they get awoken by David's group walking around, and they're looking for Joel and Ellie, hunting the town. They're in like a little kind of town area where there's a bunch of houses, so they're looking through the houses and stuff.
It's really funny. They're basically just kicking it in a cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
It's just like in which I've always loved that in my mind is like Ellie went on this horse out of Eastern Colorado. It was just like, I'm going to find the nearest fucking place that I can just drop Joel and then try to
take care of him, like food
to
and
be able
shit.
to get food and look for medicine and all that. Like, I'm just trying. Once again, we're talking about a 14-year-old that's like, I don't fucking know what I'm doing.
Right.
I don't know what I'm doing.
And then, she hears the people pulling up. She leaves Joel where he's at because he's still on the like edge
death's door.
He's still on death's door. He's got the medicine in him though, so he's healing. People are hunting the town. She pops out. She leads them away from Joel, starts chasing them. In the midst of all this, she takes out a couple of them, but she gets captured.
The horse gets shot in this moment, right? It does it? Well, it does in the show.
Yeah. Yeah,
my
the horse isn't in the picture anymore. Yeah,
so here's my issue. The last time I played this game was 2022.
Yeah.
This is by far the longest gap in my entire life that I've not played The Last of Us.
It's been a long time.
Since then, I've watched the show 3 separate times, all the way through. 3 different groups of people. I watched it by myself. I watched it with Shane and my roommate, and then I watched it with a friend. I cannot, like, for me, like, the touchstones are still at times the show at this point because it's just been so recent. But yes, you're right. The horse is out of the picture. At this point,
the horse, because I think Ellie's trying to get away on the horse, and they kill the horse.
Exactly.
And that's when they capture her, I'm pretty sure. Kill the horse that she's on, capture her, take her back to David's people. David's there. It cuts to where Ellie is just in a cage, basically. She's just locked up, and her view is just David chopping somebody's arm off, hacking up a body, because David and this group are cannibals. Yeah. The way they survive is they eat people. Yep. It's like it's a dog eat, it's a human eat human world, I guess. Yeah. And so I get David, like we said, is a creep. At this point, you don't think he wants to kill Ellie. At some point, James or one of their people describes to Joel later, I'll get to this point, as Ellie is like, "Oh, that's David's new toy." Like that's David's new.
Like David is trying to go and make Ellie part of his wife.
Exactly.
Basically.
Yeah. Part of the group, which is creepy because Ellie's a
14
child.
and he's an adult, and it immediately like I've always just used David is the definition of like he's a creep, like he's a bad human being. He is the ultimate villain. Like plays such a good villain. There is nothing redeemable about this human. Like it is just across the board. You are a cannibal, you are a creep, you're all these things. And David in that moment is like, "Hey, you want to join up? You want to squad up?
You're special.
We run in duos.
Land party? Yeah, we're good." So yeah, dude, I'm 2 beers in and 1 shot now. I'm feeling it a little bit.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so David, being the creep he is trying to get Ellie on his side, and she's like, "Fuck you! Like you're a fucking freak! Like you're eating people. It's not right." Yeah. And so they are just not getting along. And then in the midst of all this, Ellie breaks out. Ellie breaks out and starts like trying to get away. She hops out the window of the building she's trapped in.
She smokes James with a cleaver, I believe. Do you know how she
starts? Oh yeah, because she starts acting like she's on his side, and then he grabs her hand or whatever, and then he breaks her. She breaks David's finger,
and then they're about to like kill her or whatever, and she says, "I'm infected," and she smokes James and then runs away.
Yep. So she's like, "Don't kill me. I'm infected. You can't kill me. You don't want to eat me. I'm tainted meat."
There's those spoilers of The Walking Dead. A similar storyline happens of this, and the storyline of The Walking Dead. It's a good storyline. This is, in my opinion, like everyone's acting their ass off. This scene is super gripping. Like this is like the most intense scene in the game. Or for the next like 30 minutes, you're on the edge of your seat the entire rest of the way, and everyone is just acting their ass off. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, it is. It's great. She's tainted meat. You don't want to eat me. Yep. She breaks out. She starts running around. They're hunting her down. During the midst of all this, she grabs a cleaver and she takes care of James. Yeah. James is dead.
James gets smoked.
In the midst of all this. And then she smokes James. She takes off. She's running through their little area, trying to get away. David's chasing her. And during the midst of all this, it bumps back to Joel, and Joel is laying on the floor.
The restroom real quick.
Oh, you're good. Yeah. Grab the guitar. Nice. Joel is laying on the floor, and Joel wakes up. He starts getting his stuff together. He's starting to feel better. The hole in his stomach is feeling. He got that medicine in him. He got the antibiotics. So he hops up. He's like, "Where the fuck is Ellie? Like, what the fuck's going on?" At this point, the bandits are still looking for Joel in the town, and so Joel hops up, takes care of a couple of bandits, grabs a few, ties them into some chairs, and starts interrogating them. Like, where is my little girl at this point? Where is Ellie? And they're like, "We're not fucking talking." Joel starts torturing them, fucking knife to the kneecap. He's like, "If I'll pop your kneecap out if you don't fucking tell me." Point on the map where they are. He holds up a map, puts a knife in the guy's mouth. The guy points at the map, and he's like, "All right, thank you." And then he goes to the other guy. He has two guys tied up. He goes to the other guy and he's like, your friend better point at the same fucking spot you did. And he goes to the other guy. He's like pointing the map. The guy's like, I'm not fucking telling you shit.
And he's like,
I don't care. I believe your friend. And he fucking pops that guy, kills the other guy. And he's like, that guy told the truth. I'm going to Ellie. So he starts making his way to Ellie, and he finds her stuff on the way. And he's like, what the fuck is going on? Like these guys took Ellie. And so he pulls up to David's town, to all David's people. And by the time he gets there, David, like I said, Ellie was running away, trying to get away from David. David found her. They're fighting in a restaurant, like the restaurant where they cook all their food, the little town that David runs. That's where they eat all their food. And there was a fire going. Fire.
Hey.
They in the midst of Ellie getting away, knocked over something, started a fire in this building. So this building is burning down. Ellie's trying to get away from David, and you're just in this scene. Ellie's trying to run away from David. David's coming after her. You're fighting David, and Ellie ends up killing David.
Yep.
Like, it's a gruesome fight. It's a really cool scene where this building is just burning around you, and you just start
the
fighting.
boss fight of the game.
Yeah,
this is you're really like overcoming the largest obstacle. The boss fight itself is cool, but it's also like extremely scary and terrifying.
Yeah, Ellie's broken. Like Ellie's broken at this point. Like, dude, like she's grown up in a broken world, and like she's infected, and like she's basically the savior of humanity, and like she's just been through the shit.
Yeah.
She's been through the ringer, and like. And then you got this creep Dave who's just trying to wife her up and like eats people for a living.
Yeah.
And so she finally gets the upper hand, and she gets over him, and she is just taking out everything she's ever been through on this man, just stabbing him over and over. It is a cleaver, just fucking going at this guy.
It is the definition of overkill. He's dead. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, she's covered in blood, and and at this moment where she's just going ham on him, Joel walks in and grabs her, and he's like, I got you, baby girl. You're okay. Like it's fine. And that's really the moment where you're like, oh, they love each other. Like,
yep.
Joel fucking like loves this girl. Like it's more than just a mission at this point. Like
that is his daughter.
Yeah, that is his daughter,
and he will do whatever it takes to protect her and keep her safe.
So. David, we didn't like him anyway. He smoked.
He's gone.
So thankfully, a character we don't like dead.
Finally, Robert at the start, but still, this dude's a lot worse than Robert.
So that was winter time. It's still winter at all this point. It cuts from that. Joel saving Ellie. Well, I guess Ellie saved herself because she smoked.
Ellie did save herself. Springtime, baby.
Springtime.
And
we start hitting the road. We're still heading towards. This was all on the way to Salt Lake City. All this happened. Joel got impaled. Joel's better now. Took care of this creepy people eating cult.
Yeah.
So we're still. They were like, let's hit the road. Let's go to Salt Lake City, baby.
We're heading to Salt Lake City. Brady, pick it up from there.
And this is the final section of the game. Salt Lake City is the goal. It picks back up on the edge of Salt Lake City. You're almost there. So. We're getting to the end of the game.
Yep.
This is hard.
Yeah.
This is hard. You're in Salt Lake City. You start walking through. They see a giraffe for some reason, which is interesting. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, no, the draft. So this is one of my favorite scenes in any game ever. I'll also grab another one.
Yeah.
So. By the way, Brady's drinks are at the very bottom of the cooler.
I gotta work for him.
So he's got to work for him, but. We got a nice little mini cooler going. This is beer number 4 or three beers and a shot. So this is drink number 4. Cheers.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel it. My brain, like I'm just talking about this and my brain is just shutting off and I'm just rambling.
It's really funny. I brought up the fact that I'm like, it kind of feels like college where like back in college, I went to an SEC school. There's a lot of pre-gaming and tailgating and stuff like that. Similar vibe. I feel great right now.
I feel so good.
Which is really important because I have to explain an entire video game.
I'm just going to hang out after this.
Yeah, you're just chilling.
So
real quick. So we run into the drafts at this point.
Yeah.
After like climbing up, you can tell Ellie is very off-put at this point. Like she's all in her head because she
killed
just had
the
largest traumatic experience that a person can have. When it comes to this whole world and everything of like getting chased down and like David is saying awful things to it's very, very scary. Anyways, it goes and takes one of the darkest moments I've ever seen in a video game and then goes and brings in one of the most beautiful moments.
Yeah, because like I said, Ellie's grown up in a broken world. They get to Salt Lake City, Utah, the final destination. You hope you've gone to all these places. It's always they end up being duds. It's like everybody there is dead. There's no final destination for Ellie. You get to Salt Lake City, you're like, this is it. This is the goal. Yeah, you get there. She's grown up in a broken city. She's never gone to a zoo.
Yeah.
She's never seen animals. She's never seen a giraffe.
It's like you've seen deer, but like when you think of, and we'll talk about in The Last of Us Part 2, when you think of like zoo animals and like things that are like larger than life and almost like not anything that you see in your daily life, giraffes are like one of the first things that come pop in my mind.
So yeah, it's beautiful. You pull up into Salt Lake City and you're like, this is where people are at. Like this place is beautiful. It's like there's life here.
Yep.
And so you find the hospital. On the way to the hospital, they're going through all this stuff. They go into this like under subway system, I would say.
Yep. This is like the last moment where you're taking out clickers and stuff like that.
You're fighting off wards and you're just trying to get to this hospital to find the cure for humanity. And during all this entire mission, it's brought up a couple times. I didn't mention it earlier. Ellie can't fucking swim. So during the entire game, you're just like trying to get her over water from place to place. Like,
this is, in my opinion, when somebody says the reason that The Last of Us video game is not the best video game of all time or one of the best video games of all time, it is because there are many, many moments where you are dragging a wooden plate or pallet over to Ellie, picking her up and then swimming her back across. It's just such a slowing of the momentum that this game already is, which is like, it's all gas, and then you have to slow that down. I understand that.
Yeah, it is the most annoying part of the game. But Ellie can't swim at this point. You're in Salt Lake City, Utah. You're almost at the hospital. They're going through the subway system. They're going through a car, like a subway car, and it breaks down. There's water down there. Like shit's just falling everywhere. It's a super action sequence, and Ellie ends up almost drowning. It cuts to Joel like swimming over, grabbing her, bringing her out of water, and like she's pretty much half unconscious at this point. And Joel carries her to the hospital and brings her in, finds Marlene, and it's like, I got her. Here's the mission is complete. We've brought the package. Humanity is saved. Marlene's like, great.
So at this point they get separated. Because Firefly knocks Joel out. They are now separated. That's really important because
you're right. You're right. Sorry, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
So they almost drowned, and as they're drowning,
a Firefly walks up.
The Firefly group. So Fireflies are there. Firefly group pulls up as they're almost drowning. They don't know who they are at this point, so they knock. They're like, get on their ground. Joel's like, no,
she needs to be helped.
She needs to be helped. Like she's almost dead. Like she's unconscious.
She just drowned. Basically,
she just drowned, and so. Joel's like, please help her, and then the Firefly is like, fuck you, knocks Joel out, and then it cuts back. I completely forgot about this.
Joel
Cuts to Joel.
Marlene.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot about that part. It cuts to Joel waking up, and that's where Marlene is, and Joel's like, where's Ellie? And Marlene's like, she's getting prepped for surgery. We're at the end of the game now.
Yeah,
you're like, Ellie's getting prepped for surgery.
And then Joel's like, oh, cool. So what's that about? And then Joel gets told to do the surgery, she is going to need to die.
Yep. Whoa, did you just drop the big bomb?
Yeah, she needs to.
Yeah. So basically, Joel's like, where is she? She's getting prepped for surgery. Marlene says she's like, she basically, in order to save humanity, they have to get into her brain because that's where the cordyceps go. The infection builds up into your brain, and Joel's like, so they're gonna have to like fucking kill her basically, and she's like, like we have to get pieces of her brain, and Joel's like, fuck that, like I don't want her to die. So Joel fucking fights his way to the surgery room, kills out all the Fireflies, gets into that surgery room, kills the main surgeon, grabs Ellie from the table and starts walking out, fights everybody to get out of there. He takes it. He's like, fuck humanity at this point. I love this girl. This girl's my daughter. We're getting her out of here. On the way out, Marlene stops him and he's like, you can't do this. And remember at the beginning of the game, Marlene was their friend. Like Marlene's the whole reason. Marlene's the whole reason they're on this journey. And he says, fuck you. Like Ellie's unconscious at this point because she was about to go into surgery. So he's carrying Ellie. He says, fuck you, kills Marlene. And then it cuts to them heading out of the town. And Ellie's awake. And Ellie's like, what happened and like what happened? Why am I not like in surgery or whatever? And Joel's like, no, there turns out there's many people like you. That's a lie. There's many people like you. They tried before. You're fine. They're not going to find a cure. And she's like, there's no way that's the case. He's like, promise me that you're telling me the truth. Like,
well, now then it skips forward to the
yeah. It skips forward to the point. She's like, promise me you're telling me the truth. Like that there were other people. They can't find a cure. I'm not the cure. And he's like, I promise you. Like that's the case. Lo and behold, that is not the case. Yeah. The case is that he cared more about Ellie's life and his life than the cure of humanity. He wanted her to survive. He lies to her. He says, "You're like, yeah."
She says, "Swear to me."
Swear to me. Yeah.
And he says, "I swear."
I swear. Yeah. And so that's where the game ends. The game ends with Joel just being a big fat fucking liar. Joel decided he wanted the life of Ellie and he loves her at this point. Like
he chose the life of his daughter.
And at the end of the game, they're like talking about his daughter, and he's like, me and Sarah used to do this all the time, and it's like comparing Ellie to Sarah, and like at this point, it's like it is a father-daughter relationship. Yep. And he just lies to her, and he's like, yeah, there was no cure. You're good. They lied to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is the end of The Last of Us Part 1. Brady and I are going to take a brief intermission to go use the restroom, restock on drinks, and then we will get into The Last of Us Part 2. Alrighty. The Last of Us Part 2.
Thanks for listening to me ramble for fucking an hour.
I had a great time.
Yeah, we were talking in the intermission, and I was like, dude, I was just my brain was shutting off, and I was just talking. Like I got 3 beers in me, and I was just like, words are flowing.
So
I'm like the thought before my sentence. Like I'm a sentence ahead coming out of my mouth, and I'm like, man, I hope this is working.
No, we're having a great time. Currently, I still feel decently sober. This shot, it's going to change that. I think
me too.
Heavily.
Same. This is going to bring me over the edge.
Yeah, this will. Right now, we were going from buzzing into the drunk explains portion of this show. But yeah, The Last of Us Part 2. Before we get into it, thank you so much for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Brady, cheers.
Cheers. Oh, God.
Not that bad.
Delicious.
That was good. Yeah.
Spectacular. I'll have 14 more right now.
Okay. I'll do a sip of water also. Drink water when you're drinking, always. Keep you a little bit hydrated.
That's a good idea.
Booyah. All right.
Now you get to listen to Nick yap.
Yeah, they've never done that before. This audience, they've never heard me go on
rambles. This is where you turn the video off. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Last of Us Part 2. Before we hop into this, masterpiece. I think it's a masterpiece. Are you in on that wave?
I think this entire story together is a masterpiece. When people talk about The Last of Us, I don't I always say I think The Last of Us 2 is a better game, but I love The Last of Us 1 more because it like changed my like perspective on video games.
Yeah. I don't think that you are participating on this channel without The Last of Us Part 1.
No, absolutely not. I wouldn't love video games as much as I can. Yeah. I don't think no other video game has made me feel how video games
how The Last
of Us made me feel. Yeah.
Exactly. All right, beginning. The opening of The Last of Us Part 2 starts with Joel telling Tommy while they are in Jackson. So Last of Us 1 finishes is they are presumably going back to Jackson with Tommy. And so it is Tommy confessing to Joel confessing to Tommy that they are going and that he killed a whole bunch of fireflies and I did what I Ellie.
Did. Yeah. I don't think we mentioned that at the end of The Last of Us 1. They're heading back to Tommy.
Yep.
So he pulls her out of the hospital, kills everybody, lies to her, heads back to Tommy.
And in that moment, Tommy forgives Joel, which is just like such an insane dynamic to be like, hey, you're my brother. I and I understand y'all's dynamic. And the best part of The Last of Us Part 1's ending is it is split even to the people I've talked to the people that have played the game, I think in general, that are like, Joel was right or Joel was wrong.
You know what Tommy hits, dude? He says, ride together, die together.
Yeah, bad boys for life. You know what I'm saying? Come on. And so then Joel goes and gifts a guitar to Ellie. This is where he plays Future Days by Pearl Jam, which there's a great interview with Neil Druckmann, the director of the game, where he goes in and is just like, For all the people that are like, Future Days came out in like 2013. How do you know about it? Apparently, they played it live like one time before the release of when the game came out, which is Infection Day. And the word on the street is Joel saw the YouTube performance, tabbed it out himself, and then is able to perform it. I love that Neil was like, I had an ace up my sleeve for all the people that said it released after the fact. No, great song. Pearl Jam's Future Days. It's one of my favorite songs ever. Brady knows this well. I went and at the start of my best man speech to Connor, that was the opening of my best man speech, was the opening of this video game, the lyrics to Future Days by Pearl Jam. So Joel gifts Ellie the guitar, plays Future Days, and then says, hey, I promised I would teach you guitar in the first game. I'm going to teach you how to play guitar. 4 years later, after the fact, Joel and Ellie, they've built a life in Wyoming. They've built a life in Jackson, and they have some sort of emotional strain happening. They wake up in the morning, and there's sort of dialogue that shows, hey, Joel and Ellie, we're not on the best of terms. We are not best friends.
She's angsty, dude. She's like, fuck you, Dad.
Yeah, literally. So then they go out on patrol. There's different patrol groups at this point. It's Dina and Ellie, who's Dina's obviously a new character. Jesse at this point gets introduced. But it's Joel and Tommy. They go out on a patrol. It is Dina and Ellie. They're on patrol. And it is the two sides of a coin, because Dina and Ellie, they go on patrol, they find an area, and there's got some weed, they smoke out, they make out, they're having a great time. They're having a great day in the winter time. Yeah. And then Tommy and Joel, not so much. So you go out on this patrol and everything, and then all of a sudden you start playing as Abby, a character that gets introduced. And as you're out on so you have these characters on patrol playing as Abby. Abby gets in a big situation with a bunch of infected, and all of a sudden Joel picks Abby up and says, hey, we're gonna get you the fuck out of here, let's run. And Abby's like, I have like a camp in a lodge sort of deal, like let's just get there. Because they can't get back to Jackson in this snowstorm. It's like, we're just gonna get to safety real quick, we're gonna run out, it's gonna be all good.
Joel doesn't know who Abby is at this point.
Joel doesn't know who Abby is, and at this point Abby doesn't know who Joel is at this point.
He's just like, let me help you out.
And you can sort of tell through the dynamic that is Jackson. This experience has happened many times where there's just a random stranger, and then it's like, hey, we can bring you in our community and stuff like that. Yeah. So, tale of two sides for sure, between a shit show and then like a really sweet moment between Ellie and Dina. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, Tommy and Joel are still out there. Like, we got to go make sure. Let's see where they're at. Like, Ellie and Dina
making out.
Or like, we got to find these guys.
Yeah.
Then the scene kicks off. We're like an hour and a half into the game, and the moment that got leaked on the internet before the game got released, the moment that legitimately, in my opinion, changed the games industry forever. Yeah. When it comes to like the discussion around video games, and like the way that people discuss their hatred towards video games, I think was ever changed by this moment. Joel goes and introduces himself. Hey, I'm Joel. That's my brother Tommy. Sorry, other way around. Tommy says, I'm Tommy, and that's my brother Joel. And then pin drop silence hits this room. It's Abby and the rest of her encampment. You learn that they are WLF. They are Washington, people from Washington. Yeah. And Joel drops a great line of like, it seems like y'all have heard of us. And surely enough, they have.
Abby has.
Shotgun to the knee for Joel. Tommy gets his lights knocked out. He gets beat over the head, I believe, with a pistol. So Tommy's knocked out. He's not able to help his brother. Joel is KO'd. His knee is blown off.
Yeah.
And you're just like, well, shit. So then Ellie and Dina go and try to find Joel and Tommy. Ellie gets broken off from Dina. Ellie walks down to the basement. And in this moment, right before Ellie walks down, there's the scene with Abby and Joel, where Joel says, hey, whatever speech you have prepared, say it now. And Abby says, you don't get to rush this grabs a
I'm
9
in
iron
control. Yeah, like I'm in control.
and starts swinging at Joel with an iron, a golf club, and Ellie walks down. This beating has been happening for quite some time. You see Joel's face battered properly, just absolutely in the worst shape you can be while still being alive. Abby then gets told by one of her posse. There's just a group of characters that you really don't know at this point. Hey, finish it, get it done. Ellie gets detained and gets to see her father die, gets struck in the head with the golf club one last time, cracking his skull and killing Joel.
Joel dead.
Joel is dead. One of the most heartbreaking moments in all video games. A lot of people have a lot of love for Joel. I've always believed there's a great line. It was really funny. I didn't see this podcast. I have never watched this podcast, but Greg Miller from Kind of Funny at the time was on IGN when they were reviewing The Last of Us Part 1. And that podcast kicks off with Greg saying, oh yeah, like Joel's the bad guy. There's a lot of people, including myself, that have always been like, yeah, Joel's a really bad human being. Yeah. Like, he is not a hero. You're not watching a hero go through this journey in The Last of Us Part 1. He's the opposite of a
hero. He could have saved humanity.
Exactly. And he chose not to. No. And so, like, going through The Last of Us 1, there's so many people that when they watch this scene that are like, no, Joel's Papa Joel. He's my dad. Like, he is a father figure. But then in reality, and the way I've always seen it is like, Joel's a really messed up character that... And there's a old line of like when you're talking about TV or movies or anything, there's irredeemable things that you like can't do as a character and not die. And Joel has done some of those things in his past. It seems like they allude to like he has been on the other side of being a bandit and like taking advantage of people for supplies and stuff like that. Yeah. Joel's a bad guy, so I've always been like, yeah, Joel doesn't.
It's like, dude, I kind of feel for Joel. It's like for somebody who the entire first game, he lost his daughter. 20 years later, this man is just hurt and like not let love in, and then like for the longest time, and then eventually towards the end of the first game, like he finally is just like, all right, I'm ready to accept like Ellie's love, and I'm ready to like accept the relationship we have and like move forward, and like sure she reminds me of my daughter, but like I'm ready to like there's a something he said, like a saying he says is like, I guess you can't let go of the past. Yeah. like let it happen, and he finally decides to let love in, but he lets it love in the most dramatic way to where like it's like letting love in is like the cost of this love is humanity. Yeah.
So at this point Abby lets Tommy and Ellie live. It's a really...
Joel's dead.
Joel's dead.
Joel's dead. It is like, no joke.
Like, this is like...
I wish we could say this was a Game of Thrones. Just
no, he's
coming back later. He's not coming back. He's not Jon Snow.
Flashback to 2016 with the PSX trailer and seeing Ellie play the guitar, and then Joel walk in and it teases The Last of Us Part 2, and then seeing the promotional material, there is a scene that we'll get to where... It is Jesse that goes in, it like sneaks up on Ellie, but in the promotional material, it was Joel that snuck up on Ellie, and a lot of people were like, "Oh no, you are going to play this game with Joel and everything." It's brutal. Nope. It's brutal. It is brutal. Yep. It's one of the most heart-wrenching moments in video games. So Abby goes and spares Ellie and Tommy. We fast forward to Seattle Day 1, where Tommy then sets out to go and get revenge on Abby, as he rightfully should.
Have we revealed like why Abby has so much hate?
No, and it's not. I mean, at this point, it's not revealed.
Yeah.
So keep going. That's where we're gonna go.
Yeah.
Ellie and Dina go and follow him. Maria, Tommy's wife, is like, I got told by Tommy. Tommy said, lock Abby up, or sorry, lock Ellie up. Do whatever it takes. Do not let Ellie leave. And Maria's like, save my husband. Like, do what you need to do.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to convince you otherwise, obviously. So Ellie goes and follows Tommy to the city, and kills one of Abby's friends, and then finds that Tommy has already tortured another one of Abby's friends. And all these people are in the Abby's like posse that we see in the scene with Joel's death. They're all at that outpost.
Yeah, at this point you don't like have the relationship you do with like understand the relationship like you do with like Ellie and like Tommy and like Tommy's wife and all this. But you have to imagine like these are like the Tommy and like Joel. These are like Abby's Tommy and Joel. Like these are her fucking family members.
Yeah,
like,
Ellie's
like,
Tommy, Joel. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. To Abby, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so Dina and Ellie follow Tommy's trail. They find Leah, who was killed by Seraphites. This is the first introduction to the Seraphites group, which is another group that is in Seattle. They are battling and waging war against each other. It's the WLF. It is the Seraphites. The Seraphites are arguably the most creepy, terrifying. Yeah. They whistle to communicate. They are a religious cult. They are terrifying. They have a bunch of rules within the cult that we'll discuss momentarily that are like, oh damn, like you guys are wild with all your rules. Yeah, they're very scary for sure. All of a sudden, after they see that, Ellie picks up a guitar, finds a guitar in the wild, and plays "Take on Me" to Dina, which is one of the sweetest moments. On me. Well, I have the guitar side. I was like, we can rip guitar if we need to during this. I'm just going to keep on pushing forward as we've been shooting content since like 10 a.m. today.
I'm having a great time.
Yeah, dude, I'm having a lot of fun. I'm having...
we would be doing this without the camera on.
Dude, you know how you're gonna have to Uber back? I just might Uber over with you. We might just have a great time.
Yeah, we should hit the Cincinnati Museum after this.
We'll talk about a museum here in a moment.
Ayo.
So Ellie goes and sings Dina Take On Me. The duo, like all of Seattle Day 1 is a lot of learning the new gameplay mechanics of The Last of Us Part 2, which is a lot of stealth gameplay, hiding, trying to take out WLF. I don't think we get introduced to taking out Seraphites yet, but it is a lot of like sneaking around, popping somebody. Like the stealth gameplay in The Last of Us Part 2, I said it on a TikTok live.
Yeah,
I think that it's the best stealth gameplay in any game ever.
It is because really
you're running 3 steps, diving into the grass, swinging to the right, shooting a dog that is sniffing you out. That goes and reveals your area. You put a silencer on. You like it's so interactive. It's so frictionless. It's so good. So there's not a lot of story beats when it comes to Day 1 necessarily, but they take on an infected group. Ellie's mask breaks in like an infected area. Dina's like, take my mask, and she's like, no. And then like they get out of this area. At the end of Day 1, it gets revealed. Ellie says to Dina, "Hey, I'm immune. I'm immune."
Yeah.
Dina says, "I think I'm pregnant," and immediately you're just like, dude, The Last of Us 2 storytelling is gonna be wild. This is Day 1.
They're like, how can we make this shit crazier? They're like, fuck it, she's pregnant.
Yeah, raise the stakes, dude. I don't know if this is the case, but I feel like every single time there's a flashback in this game, Ellie picks up the guitar and plays something. I think at this point she does play Future Days. They get to a safe point, which is the theater. That is the safe point basically for the entire first half of this game. I assume at this point she picks up the guitar, plays Future Days. Flashback to Ellie's 15th birthday with Joel. They go to the museum. It starts out with Ellie taking a plunge where it gets revealed that she can swim. And it's like,
she can
swim. Yeah. Let's go.
We
made it.
Oh, if only you could have done this 2 years earlier, all of our problems would have been solved.
Ellie goes to the museum, and it's a sweet moment with Joel. It is what a lot of people I think wanted this game to be, which was like, let's have more moments with Joel and Ellie.
Walk down memory lane. It's they're like, you not happening.
Yeah, it's
not fucking happening.
But like, it's awesome that they did still give us more moments to build these characters' relationships.
A lot of flashbacks.
To make what is happening in the present even more impactful.
Yeah. It's like, hey, in case you forgot, like this happened. Like
Ellie in the first game goes and says, I want to be an astronaut. And Joel in this moment lets her become an astronaut. They sit in a space shuttle sort of deal, play the tape, and Ellie gets like transformed to like the scene seeming like she is indeed an astronaut. It is beautiful. It's stunning. It's great game direction. I love this scene. And it's Joel making Ellie's dream come true. It's like you can never be an astronaut in this world, but I'm going to make you feel this moment like an astronaut. It's beautiful. It's a great moment. Seattle Day 2. Like we got to keep going because we can't sit in the beauty that was the flashback
that once was.
We're back into the shit
How old
show.
is Ellie at this point? Do they ever?
I think 4 years later she was 14 in the first game. She was about like 1920.
Yeah.
I can do a quick Google search. Brady, day one of The Last of Us Part 2. When you were playing day one of The Last of Us Part 2, what was on your mind?
I mean, dude. Joel dying.
Yeah, right.
Like,
were you? She's 19 in The Last of Us 2.
Yeah, it checks out because like, dude, you go into that game like, all right, I know who the main characters are, and then like in Last of Us, fucking esque, they're just like,
dude, I have a question for you. This is a fun little fun fact for the audience. This was the first story game I ever streamed. I played all of The Last of Us 2, and you watched me beat The Last of Us 2 on stream.
Yeah,
do you remember
that? I didn't until now, but you just unlocked that memory.
Well, 5 years ago, yeah. And so
but yeah, for day one, it's just like this character that you've known and grown to love for over years.
7 years since you beat the original.
And you're like, oh, I love Joel. I'm ready to fucking take on the journey again. And then it just like, not only does he die, but he gets beat the fuck up to death,
it's wild. It's so graphic.
Yeah,
and you're just like, all right,
you're like, what am I getting into?
And you say to yourself as the player, and I think that every player says this to themselves, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to fucking get to Abby and kill Abby.
Yep.
Like, I don't care. You killed my dad. I'm going to do this. Because here's the thing. To some level, Ellie's hands, even though she's obviously killed people, it's really brutal, it's really a lot, are somewhat clean. Like she didn't do the awful act at the end of The Last of Us Part 2.
Exactly.
Or sorry, Part 1.
Yeah.
So it's really tough. But we'll get to all that of like, was this all worth it in a moment. Seattle day 2. Dino repairs a radio to track what's happening with Tommy. Tommy's out there. Tommy's on the loose. Which
Tommy's on the loose.
When you do go to the second half of this game, seeing what Tommy is doing and everything, it's like, dude, Tommy's a unit. Tommy's crazy
Uncle Tommy
with
fucking,
it.
Yeah,
Uncle Tommy was making it happen.
Yeah.
In the TV show, it alludes to him being a military veteran. It's like, yeah, no shit. This dude was taking bodies with him as he's going to try to avenge his brother.
From the ground up, started the whole town for himself. He was like, fuck this, I'm not being a Firefly. And he self-sustaining town. Like he basically just started a fucking village.
Ellie then pursues Tommy alone, encounters Jesse. This is the moment that I brought up earlier of Jesse says, covers Ellie's mouth and then turns around and reveals, hey, Jesse is now in the picture. When I said that Dina was pregnant, it was with Jesse's baby. Mm-hmm. They used to date. A lot of allusions to like, hey, like these are the dynamics that were set in place early on. You can go and like connect the dots at this point, but they're not like spelled out to you.
Right.
They get spelled out to you a little bit later in the game of what happens the night before.
Which I kind of like the way they did that.
Oh, well, yeah, because it trusts that the player is smart enough to connect the dots, but it's not going to spoon feed you the information.
It's like, dude, like we said, it's like a fucking movie. You're here for the movie. It's like,
So Ellie goes out alone. Jesse, Dina's ex-boyfriend, comes into play and is like, what's up? I'm here. I'm going to help you and Dina once again. Jesse loves Dina still. They're and this gets alluded to later too, that like they're in love together, but they have a strained relationship. At this point, flashback to Ellie with Tommy, showing her how to like shoot and stuff like that. It's a really great flashback. And then Joel comes in, picks up their relationship, and Joel and her have this great flashback where it is like them being like on more of a mission that you and you're playing as Ellie. You're going through this structure as if things are just like The Last of Us 1. It's really a sweet moment. At the end of it, though, Ellie does question once again Joel and says, "Hey, everything you told me was true. I haven't seen any other infected, or sorry, like
any other
new
people,
person
people like me."
And he's just like, "Yep, everything I said was true." He doubles down. Fast forward, Ellie has Jesse protect Dina so she can pursue Nora, who is the next up on the hit list, basically, of the information trail that is being passed along at the Lake Hill Seattle Hospital. While searching for Abby's friend Nora, she encounters the Seraphites. This is where we finally go. Day 2 is where it's like, oh shit, the new enemy, the Seraphites, are in full swing.
Yeah.
And it is terrifying. It is raining. You're diving in tall grass. These people have like cloaks or ponchos. It's not a poncho, but it's almost like a like top half.
It's kind of
poncho.
Like a poncho.
Yeah. And, the dude's Cal from Star Wars Outlaws or Star Wars Fallen Order. Anyways, but yeah, all this group is just terrifying. It legitimately, as you are going and like trying to take people out, the spatial audio in this game is also phenomenal. You just all of a sudden like back left corner of your ear hear a whistle and you're just like, oh
Yeah,
what the fuck is happening?
yeah.
You don't hear people making call outs. Also, this game does a great job of calling out and being like, every single person that dies, if for example Brady were to die, I would run over to Brady's body and be like, Brady's dead, they got Brady, stuff like that. It's super,
you hear people yelling,
it's super awesome. But in this moment you don't hear that yelling that you heard in day one. It's all whistles, it's all the communication through the Seraphite language. It's awesome. Ellie pursues Tommy some more, or sorry, pursues Nora more. Ellie finally tracks down Nora at the hospital and it's like, hey, you need to tell me where Abby is or I'm going to torture you, basically.
And how old are they? Like,
Nora's not, Nora's in her 20s, I think.
Yeah.
And then Ellie's 19.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Yeah.
and Ellie basically, so they run through this section. All of a sudden they get into the infected area and Nora's going to die. Nora knows she's going to die.
Yeah.
And Ellie says, I can make it painless for you. Tell me where Abby is. And Nora goes in, strains up their shoulders and is like, I'm not telling you shit. Obviously, I'm gonna die. I can handle the
story's
pain.
written. I'm fucked.
But it's like Ellie makes it very clear of like either an extremely painful death through cordyceps, or I can make it painless. It's cordyceps plus I'm also going to torture you now,
right. Yeah.
or I can make it painless. And that
what do you even do at that moment? Do you just take it, or you're just like,
I would think that I would go and stand up for my friends and everything, but it's also just like, I don't fucking know. That's it's a brutal death.
Yeah.
So in this second best, I brought it up earlier. I think the moment of The Last of Us. Sorry, this is the third best. The moment of The Last of Us happens in The Last of Us 2. It's the best moment in the game. It's at the very end. The second best moment is the moment within Ellie and Joel in the first game talking at the house after she takes off with the horse, and it's just Troy Baker, Ashley Johnson acting their ass off. In my opinion, the third most important moment of The Last of Us is this scene where you, as a player, you are 2 days into Seattle as Ellie. You have murdered so many people. And the game, instead of going straight to a cutscene, makes you press square as Nora goes and says, like, I'm not going to tell people. You have a lead pipe in your hand. You have to, as a player, this is sort of where it starts to kick in. And the game does what it's supposed to do. And it's like, I don't really want to do this.
It's like, you don't have a fucking choice.
And then it makes you press square to continue on with the story and torture Nora for the location. Once again, extremely brutal, visceral, and not great. Flashback at this moment. This is the end of day 2. Flashback to once again, I just, with all this game, I'm like, Ellie finds a guitar somewhere and then it kicks off a flashback. I don't know if that's the case, but that's the case for like 60 to 70% of the flashbacks.
We do have to give a disclaimer. It is a little confusing because you like, Joel's dead. You did start talking about Joel again and like how he like just a part of the story, but there are a lot of flashbacks in this game where Joel pops up and stuff, so just keep that in mind.
Flashback. I'm trying my best with the flashbacks to cut in at the proper moment.
Part 1 for me, it's just like mainline story. Part 2, it's just like
there's a lot of jumping around
all over the place and new characters.
When I did my notes for this, I was like, okay, just understand the ordering of things and then what happens during those things compared to like trying to like get in all the details. It's more just trying to understand the order. So if Nick starts talking about
people that are dead, it's flashback.
Flashback to Ellie going back to the hospital where she was once on the table and Joel saved her. She learns all the information that just through environmental storytelling that she was the cure. That she was 1 in a billion, and there aren't others like her.
Not even 1 in a billion. She's 1 for 1, dude.
Yeah, she's the only one that is in there as the cure. She's the only one that's immune. Joel arrives worried about his child. It gets real that she just left a note in the Jackson area and says, "Hey, I'm going over here to go and figure this out." She's sitting playing a tape recorder, I believe, of Marlene saying she's the cure. And in that moment, Joel sort of is like, yep. Or, sorry, Ellie asks, hey, tell me the truth and I will come back to Jackson with you. I promise I will come back to Jackson with you. And Joel in that moment, and she says, if you don't, I'm gone. And Joel, in the same way that he did in the first game, will do anything to make sure that he's able to protect her. Says, no, you're right. I lied to you, and I'm very sorry. This is what happened. And then Ellie says, okay, I promised you that I would come back, but we're done.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, you fucked up. Dude, that's such a fucking hard moment. It's so crazy. You're like, the jig's up, dude. Can't fucking do it anymore.
Day 3 of Seattle.
Day 3. Baby.
Oh God, where are you at with your beer? Cheers, buddy.
I'm done.
I need to lighten the mood after that a little bit. We're about to get to another shot point, by the way, so get ready for that. Get another one ready for me, please. Day 3 Seattle. Jesse convinces Ellie they need to get Tommy to the theater and leave Seattle to save a sick Dina. Dina, through her pregnancy, of doing a bunch of in day 1 especially. Like, there's a moment in day 1 that I sort of skipped over that thank you, where Dina goes and like saves Ellie, and she gets like the glass gets shot out of the roof that Dina is standing on. She gets dropped to the ground and then gets captured. Then Ellie saves Dina. Like, there's so many moments that I'm like, Dina, as somebody that is pregnant, should be on bed rest, hanging out. Like, she should not be going
back in town.
Yeah, just hanging out.
Like,
why are you going? Like, can you imagine dropping 10 feet as a normal person? Like, just hanging out. Like, you're pregnant. Please relax, hang out. And so they're like, and Dina gets sick through that process, and Jesse's like, we got to get Dina back.
Yeah,
we got to make that happen. Ellie agrees, but while looking for Tommy, she breaks away from Jesse and continues her pursuit of Abby. Duh. She will do whatever it takes to get revenge for Joel at this point. She reaches the aquarium. Once again, in between all of this, there's a lot of Seraphite fights. There's a lot of infected fights. There's a lot of WLF fights. But she gets to the aquarium where she finds 2 more of Abby's friends, Owen and Mel. They get in this major fight, basically, that is Owen trying to make sure that Mel is okay in this moment, but also save both their asses, try to talk themselves out of this situation where they're being held up at gunpoint. Through the fight, Ellie, there's so many characters and a lot of vowels in this game.
You're good.
Ellie goes and kills Mel and Owen. In Owen's dying breaths, as he is choking on his own blood, he reveals that Mel is pregnant. That Ellie just killed a pregnant Mel.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking. Especially with, like, Ellie has so much love for Dina right now and everything that she's going through, as she just revealed that she's pregnant, for the coin to be on the other side and for her to have killed someone that's pregnant, where the Owen in this scene sort of is the instigator.
Yeah.
Where, like, Ellie's just like, hey, tell me where Abby is. I'll let you guys go. Just tell me where she is. And Owen, like, gets closer, and, like, during the scene, it's like Owen is trying to make the money move moment, which is grab the gun and, like, switch it over onto Ellie.
It does such a it does such a good part of, like, it's like everybody's life is like their own. Like, in this world, like I said earlier, to where it's like these characters are like who Joel and Ellie are to who Joel and Tommy are to, like, Ellie. It's like these are Abby's Joel and Tommy, and, like, it's like you're mirroring worlds. It's like everybody's world is different. She's worried about herself, but then in this moment she kills a pregnant person, and he's like, she was pregnant, and he's like, oh fuck, like, this is somebody else's life. It's like, this is a whole another fucking life. It's like they're living. It's like, I'm, like, worried about myself, but it's like, in the reality, it's like you don't realize at this point, it's such a broken world that it's like these are people's fucking lives.
You ready for this? I don't think you're ready for this. There's a moment in one of my favorite shows called Ted Lasso where
barbecue
sauce, where Roy Kent, who's a grizzled person, brings up the story of when he was young in the football club. Like, he was like his early 20s and everything. He made a joke to a guy who revealed that his wife was pregnant and like they're having a baby and everything. He made a joke being like, "Oh, it's my kid" or whatever, like just like a stupid offhanded joke. And then that guy beat the crap out of him. And he goes and then says later on, a couple years down the line, I met him at a pub, and it got revealed to me. He said, like, I apologize for my stupid joke, and then he told me that they lost the baby, and that's why.
That's why I was so upset.
Yeah, that's why he was so upset with that joke.
It makes you,
and then he goes, and Roy, who's talking about that story, he goes and says something along the lines of like, none of us know what's happening in each other's lives.
Yeah, it makes you feel like there's a word for it, like where you there's a word for the realization where like it makes you feel so small that like it's like you're living your life and you're so worried about the things you're worried about, but it's like, dude, like
it goes well beyond
everybody. Like there are 7 billion people in the world.
No, I don't know
everybody
what's
feels that
happening with somebody else in their main life, and then at the end of Roy's story, he's like, I don't know what, and he brought it up as an example because somebody else made a stupid mistake, and he's like, I don't know what's happening in his life, but I'm going to still give him love. I'm going to still care for him.
Yeah.
In the same way that in this moment, it's like, I don't know what's happening. Like Ellie in the moment doesn't know what's happening in Owen and Mel's life, but it's like, fuck, dude.
It's like she was pregnant. It's like you find
so
that
much.
she finds that realization, like for common ground. It's like, fuck, dude. Like this, like, oh, dude.
And then Tommy and Jesse arrive, seeing Ellie break down, having a panic attack, dealing with the fact that she just did what she did. And then it kicks to the theater once again. Finally, we have our 4 core characters that are still alive that we've got to like build up these relationships. You have Jesse, Dina, Tommy, and Ellie all in the theater. And it's like, cool. We're fucking leaving.
Let's bounce.
Yeah. Abby gets to live. We destroyed her life enough.
It's like, whatever, dude. Let's kick
We
rocks.
need to get out. Like, and I also think a large force of it is like, hey, Dina's sick. We got to get out of here
Get out of
at
Dodge,
this point.
Dude.
They go, and Tommy walks off. It is Ellie and Jesse talking. And all of a sudden, there's a commotion upstairs in the theater. And you see Ellie and Jesse burst through the door. Jesse gets shot in the head. Jesse dies.
Just straight to the point.
You see Tommy on the ground being held up at gunpoint by Abby.
Yeah.
Ellie goes and is like behind a counter as she's like seeing Tommy on the ground, and Abby is holding him hostage. Tommy begs Ellie to not stand up and to just get the fuck out of there.
Just fucking run.
Just run.
Leave.
Yeah. Tommy obviously is Ellie's family to some level.
Yeah. Joel raised her differently.
That's her uncle.
She's not doing
that's
that.
her uncle.
Yeah.
And she stands up, concedes her spot 4 years earlier.
Flashback.
4 years earlier. And I mean, we can take the shot now. We're in like 2 minutes. What do we want to do?
I mean, we gotta do
We'll do it. We'll do it at Seattle Day 1. That's what I said. 4 years earlier, flashback. You are now playing as Abby once again. There's a flashback where it's a super phenomenal flashback. This is establishing Abby as a character. More so, all we've seen is Abby, the monster that killed Joel.
So basically, like, this is the craziest point in the game, because it's like this game up until now has just been like, Abby's the enemy. You fucking hate Abby.
Yep.
And then you wake up and like where it cuts to this part in the game, it's like, guess what? You're fucking playing as Abby. And then like in my mind, when I was first playing this game, you're like, oh, okay, like this is just like a cool little cutscene. And then you get fucking a couple hours down the road, and it's like, you're fucking playing as the person you hate. Like
7 to 10 hours.
But then it brings it back to the point we were just making, where it's like everybody's life is their own.
It's their own.
Like,
you don't know their fucking stories.
It makes you
don't know what is going on in everyone's life, and to assume so is foolhardy.
And then you start playing as Abby, and you're like, you start justifying things, and you're like, I understand why she feels this way. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All
Which
right.
we'll get to. Yeah.
I'm still on beer 3. Editor in chief, Two Shoes. We're 5 drinks deep. This is number 6 for you. Cheers.
I'm in the same boat. Yep.
That's 6 for you, but you're all working on your 6th. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm
cooking. I'm cooking. How you feeling?
Feeling pretty good. I'm not slurring my words yet. Right?
Right.
So,
Not yet.
4 years flashback, Abby goes and has a scene with her dad where she meets up with her dad. They have cute father-daughter moments. we've been here before. They save inevitably a zebra that is caught in barbed wire.
Oh,
it
yeah,
is,
yep.
and like you get to see the humanity of Abby's dad, which is just like, dude's a good guy.
He's a loving, caring person.
Yeah, he cares about his daughter.
He cares about humanity.
Cares about wildlife. Cares about humanity. They save the zebra, and then Owen tells them that Ellie has arrived, and it is time. It is time. This is where we get the reveal that Marlene is talking to Jerry, who is Abby's dad.
It's all happening.
And this is the flashback to Ellie at the hospital where Joel made his decision. Jerry has to decide to operate on this 14-year-old girl
to save humanity.
to save humanity. Marlene asks, and this is the dynamic that I wish we saw a little bit more of in The Last of Us 1, but I'm thankful we see it in The Last of Us 2. Marlene asks, what if it was Abby on that table? What if it was your own daughter? Fuck, dude. It's immediately just like, and Jerry's just like, Abby then walks in. He doesn't have to answer the question because it is a impossible question.
Yeah.
And it also goes and strengthens Joel's point of you are giving that father the impossible choice to decide whether this person lives or dies for humanity's sake. It then cuts after they're talking. Marlene and Jerry they're hanging out, they're talking. It cuts to the sirens that we've heard many times through The Last of Us 1, playing through that game over the 7 years in between. It cuts to the sirens of the hospital scene, and it's Abby walking up to the hallway of the procedure room where she opens the door and sees that her dad is dead, ruthlessly murdered, and is just laying there. Seattle, day 1.
So, basically, if you haven't caught on yet,
Joel murdered her dad.
Joel saved Ellie at the end of part 1. Killed the lead surgeon. The lead surgeon,
by the way,
Abby's dad.
But if you
And
are
that's the
playing,
whole
if you're
reason.
playing The Last of Us Part 1, you don't have to kill anyone except for the lead surgeon. In that surgery room, you don't have to kill either of the 2 nurses that are helping the procedure.
I don't think I did.
You have to kill the lead surgeon.
They knew what they were
They
doing.
knew.
So yeah, so Abby's entire fucking like fuel is just the fact that your father Joel killed my dad.
Yep.
It's like, so I'm gonna fucking ruin your life. The bane of my existence.
By the way, the
is
best part
vengeance.
I think that Abby has a great point in her mind, which is she doesn't have initially any disdain towards Ellie.
Right,
She's like,
right. But she just has an overall vengeance, and it's
it's a vengeance just towards Joel.
Yeah.
Which is like you can.
But also Joel's her dad, and it's like you killed my dad, and it's like I need to kill your dad.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess he's already fucking dead.
Exactly.
But now I need to kill you because I didn't get the satisfaction of fucking vengeance.
You killed. Yeah,
It's
exactly. And it's the discussion of this game often gets brought up is the cycle of vengeance. It's such a boring story. Of course, vengeance just leads on to more vengeance. For me, it's like it's way deeper than that.
No story shows vengeance like this story.
Yeah, well, Neil Druckmann, great line. Check out the Kind of Funny Games cast, spoiler cast with Greg Miller, and then it's Neil Druckmann, Abby Johnson, and Troy Baker. So it's the cast of.
Really? What the fuck?
Have you not seen this?
No, that's crazy.
I know.
You've probably told me about this.
Many times. Neil has a great line in that discussion, and once again, I might be misquoting it, so don't. I'm not directly quoting it. Where he talks about The Last of Us Part 2 and Last of Us 1, he describes always has is a story about love. The love of a father caring for a daughter, the love between these 2 characters, the love between Joel and Tess, the love between Henry and Sam. It's all about love. Bill and Frank, all about love. The story of The Last of Us 2 often gets brought up is a story about hate.
Hate and vengeance.
And here's the thing. It's the exact opposite. It's a story about love.
It's not because it in a sense is about hate, but it's hate because of love. It's like I'm doing this because of the people I love.
What will you do for the people that you love? And that's once again the story about The Last of Us 1. It is what will you do for the people that you love and care about. And but also what is the result of what you would do for the people you love and care about. And because guess what? All this is the ripple effect of Joel's decision in The Last of Us 1.
It is crazy. Oh, dude, it's so fucking crazy because all this is like you said, the damage is done. Her dad's dead. Joel's dead.
It could have been over.
It's just vengeance at this point. It's like we could just stop it, and we'll get to the end of the game. But the ending is just like the overall arching of
it's the story.
So it's crazy, but we'll do the shot.
Seattle Day 1 is when we said we do shot 2, where you start to play as Abby. Once again, we said it's a full-on spoiler cast.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm so happy we get to do this together.
Me too.
What a life we get to live, where we get to take some drinks and top of The Last of Us.
Well, dude, we're breaking this down even more, and it's just like I like this.
We said it's a yap fest. We get to just yap it up.
Like I'm getting emotional. I'm like, because I'm like, you're thinking about it as a game, but the story as a whole, you're like, it's like vengeance. It's like, dude, it's like people's lives. It's fucking insane.
Once again, if you've not watched this channel before, I've talked about Ted Lasso many times. It's a long running joke where I love it. Connor won't watch it because he's seen clips of it. But like, I bring up the Roy Kent moment because I'm like, I think that's one of the most well-written moments I've ever seen in TV, where it is like, you don't know what's happening in other people's lives ever.
Yeah.
And obviously we're putting that idea into the insane playground that is the Last of Us world. But from a human aspect, it is reflecting, we don't know what's happening in other people's lives. So let's just experience the story and go and be like, yeah, your vengeance makes sense. My vengeance makes sense. But at the end of the day, why can't we just go and call it at some point? Because what is that vengeance leading to? It's just a hateful cycle.
Right. Because at the end of game 1, it's like Joel's the bad, like he's not the bad guy, but you're like, this is not good. Like you could save humanity. And
Joel is not the bad guy, but he's a pretty bad guy.
But then and then in game 2, it's like you start playing as who you think is the bad person, Abby, and then it gets revealed that her dad is the whole reason Joel was the bad guy, gets killed, and it's like. And then you start rationalizing, like, she's not that bad.
And by the way, if you do not, in my opinion, sympathize to some level with Abby, I think you're wild.
Yeah, no, you have to.
Because it's like her reasoning. You went through this whole journey of like, there's a lot of people that have discussed The Last of Us 2. They're like, I really wanted to kill Abby because she destroyed my family. It's like, dude, Abby had her family destroyed by our main characters in the first story. It's the exact same point. You're making
for the sake of humanity.
Yeah,
it's like her dad
even more so.
If anything, it's worse.
Yeah.
It's like we wouldn't even be here right now.
It's wild. Yeah. All right. As I said at the start, Seattle Day 1 is the halfway point. That's where we will take this shot break point.
Our third and final shot.
Our third and final shot.
This is probably gonna do some damage.
Oh well, yeah. Right now, we're feeling the spirits. But I do feel good enough to be like, I think I've done a solid job of getting us through the story, keeping it without slurring the words. We're trying our best right now.
You're very articulate. You're doing a great job.
Thank you for saying that. I might be more articulate than I am on the casual gaming conversation.
Maybe you just have to drink 6 beers before the casual gaming conversation every time.
Dude, you put me on casual gaming news where I have to read stories. Maybe we put a few beers in.
Takes the edge off. Takes the edge off.
This is more than the edge off. We're getting there.
I hope the mic picks up the sound of the googlies of this going in out of my mouth. The googlies.
It's good.
Googlies is a good word.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right. You ready?
I have to use the bathroom. Do you want to?
Yeah, well, I can continue on. You can use the rest of them.
Yeah, sounds good.
Just keep the door open and hear what the sweet words that I'm saying are. All right, Seattle Day 1. We're playing as Abby now. Abby goes and fights on the front lines with Manny and Mel, who are both worried that killing Joel didn't clear her conscience. We're seeing a very destructive Abby, is what I would say. We're still at the point where she is just all focused on killing Joel all the time. She's killed Joel now, but she still is dealing with the ramifications of her trauma that happened many years ago. And so Mel and Manny, who are two characters that we come to know and love throughout the story, are like, hey, are you all right? Like, we just want to make sure that you're okay. And Abby's like, yeah, I'm fine. It's cool, whatever. But it seems that she still is struggling. Abby and Manny visit the WLF's leader, Isaac, who is like, hey, We got to go attack the Seraphites. Full tilt. We're going to go to the Seraphite Island. We're going to launch a major attack. We're going to go and absolutely smoke these guys. We're going to destroy them once and for all. Once again, these two groups are fighting for the soul of Seattle. They're trying their best to make it happen and work it out at this point. Abby and Manny are just like, I don't know if we're gonna do that. Abby in this moment sort of refuses, hearing that, having heard that Nora went and said Owen had been kicked out of the WLF for refusing to kill old Seraphites. I want to flash back a little bit to the flashback with Abby and her dad. Mm-hmm. Owen walks in, is like, hey, like all this is happening. You can tell that Owen and Jerry, aka Abby's dad, and Abby, they're like all together. Like they've been around the block. They have a lot of care and love for each other. You can see them barbecuing together, hanging out. They are like, to a basic regard, family. Mm-hmm. Even though they're just friends, they're not related. They are still family with all this stuff. Like they are very close to each other. So when it is, hey, Owen has been kicked out of the WLF, you already sort of understand through context clues, like Abby's not going to be about that. Like she's not going to respect the WLF with that happening. Owen apparently refused to kill Seraphites for some reason we don't know at the time. I was like, all right, I'm not going to go and attack Seraphite Island because Owen doesn't agree with it. Flashback. There's so many flashbacks in this goddamn game.
I know.
Flashback 3 years to Owen and Abby. They're just having fun at the aquarium. They're kicking it. They're hanging out. I love the set design in this game so much between the theater and the aquarium as these two bases.
Yeah.
And they're having fun, and it results in the two of them kissing, and it's such a sweet moment. And you're like, once again, you're trying to like put some level of humanity towards Abby at this moment, because as a player, you're just like immediately still rigid from everything that's happened.
I mean, yeah, you're
like,
still fucking on edge.
Yeah,
but like in such a broken world, it's like you got to find pockets of fucking like you have to have some sense of normalcy.
Yep.
It's like I need love in like such a broken world. It's like,
and so the great part of all of this is, while playing it, you're having these moments of happiness. You have these moments of love, and it reflects back to like the moments that Ellie had with Dino, where they're making out and they're smoking weed and they're having a great time. And it's like, on the other side of the coin, you're in the aquarium, you're hanging out, you're having fun. Like it, having that humanity aspect, like you said, is just so important.
Yeah.
And so they're kissing. It's a great moment. It's like, all right, where's the scene gonna go from here? Abby breaks the kiss and then starts talking about, hey, I heard Joel's still out there.
Yeah, we're finding this fucker.
We gotta discuss Joel. I gotta train. Yeah. I gotta pump these arms. Like we gotta make it happen.
Yeah.
And like you can, it's really interesting to see Abby like on the previous flashback where she is just like a little bit thinner and everything.
She's a young girl.
And then as she's grown up, she gets very bulky. Where
she's like my whole sense of living is like,
I need to kill Joel.
Exactly.
And so she gets jacked up to go and kill Joel, and it's like, oh shit. Like I love that through character design they're able to go and say like show character motivation. It's phenomenal. And so that's quick flashback. Well, not a quick flashback. It's like a 40-minute sequence. But
it's funny because like we're doing this, but there's like a bunch of sequences. It was like we go over it in like a minute, but it's just like 40 minutes of gameplay
and stuff like that.
But like also a great thing this game does, it's like during the gameplay, there's so much banter back and forth. Dude. It's like,
so like
that's important.
When you're going through the sequence, I ended it with Owen and Abby kiss and everything, and it's like they start making out and stuff like that. But it's like during the 30 minutes prior of them hanging out in the aquarium, there's flirting, there's
like
banter.
Gameplay, but it's like mainly you just like walking around looking at shit and like bantering.
This isn't spoilers for Uncharted 4 in the slightest version, but it's
imagine we just spoil Uncharted 4.
But it does bring up a gameplay feature in Uncharted 4. Just a quick heads up. The moments when you're in Uncharted 4 and then you walk up to your character and you press triangle, and they have those dynamic moments where it is like, oh, we're not getting like, this isn't a gameplay sequence, it's not a cutscene, but we're living in the environment with these two characters talking. Naughty Dog does a great job of taking that, implementing it in this game, and letting it be just dynamic through the gameplay and everything.
It's funny you say that because I thought about the same thing. I thought about, because I had just beaten Uncharted 4, and I went back and I was watching all the cutscenes from this, and I was like, like we talked about in our podcast, breaking down Uncharted 4.
Check out the spoiler cast on Patreon.
Yeah, do it on Patreon. Yeah, the banter back and forth and how good it is. And then I was like, I forgot like it. I honestly think it's 1,000 times better in The Last of Us. Like the banter just throughout the entire game of the 1 and 2, like as you're just walking around doing shit, gameplay, just the banter. It like slowly builds relationships between all of the characters.
It's so good. I think The Last of Us 1 is good with doing that. I think The Last of Us 2 is the best example that we've seen in video games.
Well, because there's so many more characters, and it's like
maybe I'm going to be a sucker for it. I think Rebirth is close with just interpersonal.
Well, yeah,
it's close, but also
Rebirth does do a really good. Well, Remake and Rebirth do a good job
of that, like walking around and everyone talking still.
It's like even if it doesn't feel like a cutscene story moment, it's like this portrayals of the story. It's like you need to listen to this
progress
right
the
now.
story so fucking well.
Yeah.
We got elimination chamber tonight. Goddamn.
brother, we're gonna be here for 5 more hours.
Oh my god,
I'm having a good time right now. I forgot we were recording.
Text Jess, you're coming home late tonight. So flash forward, Abby then flees the base to find Owen, which is kind of obvious. Like it's like, okay, day 1 of Seattle, Abby's gonna try to find Owen. After this flashback, on the way to the Seraphite, on the way to Owen, this is my notes being wrong. On the way to Owen, the Seraphites patrol ambushes and then captures Abby. Yeah. And this is, if you go all the way back, and I love this shit. I appreciate this shit to the highest degree. I think this is a fun one. A quick little debrief to Brady. I think Brady knows this well. When I talked about my expertise when I was pitching Co-op 64 to you and Connor in the first place, I brought up the fact that I think I am, in the world, very good at knowing video game trailers, knowing when they came out, knowing what happens in them, stuff like that.
Like Goaties and
like
stuff.
Goaties, like
what was nominated in 2016.
Yeah, well, what happened in the 2016 PSX? Yeah, I'm like, this is what happened. Like that is something
it's
I'm really
very
good
impressive because I'm like, I don't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday.
Exactly. Like it's one of
you
the
just saw me try to tell the story of The Last of Us 1, and I'm like, oh my god, my brain hurts.
Yeah, but like I think I'm very, very good at that. So flashing back to a story trailer from The Last of Us Part 2, this was a moment that was shown, and people at that time were like, is Abby in this scene who's getting carved up by Seraphites as she's about to be hung and everything? And when I say carved up, I mean like they're like drawing a blade on her and stuff like that. It's a very scary scene. Yeah. It's dark at night. There's a fire up front. It's going and flashing up Abby's face and everything. And it's like, okay, is Abby about to die? But at the time, everyone was like, is this Ellie's mom? Such a like, but at the time it's like 2018. You don't know.
Not released.
And
you're
it's so.
You're fucking throwing darts at a board you can't see. You're just
I loved going and having all the theorizing and then seeing what the end result was. So just a quick little moment of that.
Yeah, that's good.
So
where are we? Sorry, I forgot where we were.
Abby's ambushed by Seraphites. And gets captured. Flash back 4 months to the Winter Aquarium, where it gets revealed that Owen and Mel are dating and Abby found Joel's location. Quick little like, hey, we need to go, and Owen and Mel are dating, and it's like they're getting busy, like they're hanging out, like it's a whole thing. Nice. And so flash forward, Abby in the moment escapes with Lev and Yara, who are 2 Seraphites who are no longer going to be with the Seraphites due to disagreeing with Seraphite traditions. And at this moment, I didn't even write this in the notes. It's a brutal moment. It's kind of, once again, if you're weak in the stomach, just tune out now. 3, 2, 1. Okay, cool. Yara's arm gets bashed.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And it's one of those moments that like, once again, I gave you the warning, or I tried to at least. I like in this, I'm watching the scene, and it's wild to think that I was streaming this, and I was going and clearing out our highlights because our Twitch now has a new integration where it only allows you 100 hours of highlights, and I had a lot of highlights of my streaming career since 2020 and everything. I, during a lot of moments, was dumbfounded at what I was seeing.
You're just streaming, you're like
and I was watching the scene, and I am jaw dropped, and I'm like it goes beyond just like, oh, they broke her arm. It is they destroyed this
They
poor
pulverized.
person's arm, and it's like so much so that I'm like, I sorry, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they go and destroy their arm. And despite Yara breaking her arm, they escape. Abby leaves them at an abandoned office trailer. They're sort of just like cooped up in a trailer real briefly. She reaches her private hideout at the aquarium. She finds a drunken Owen who talks about, like, Owen comes in and it's just like, the fucking fireflies, dude. We're fucking back. We got to find the fireflies in Santa Barbara. And they have a argument that is back and forth of like, what the fuck are you doing? What are you fucking doing? It results in them having sex together. This is a scene that has been heavily discussed of just like what a wild dynamic these two characters have. But I think that everything that they've shown previously makes sense of like they love each other, but also Owen and Mel and all this shit, like they're in a very tough world and it's a tough dynamic. I'm never one for cheating. Like I disagree with Owen in this moment, like going and cheating on his pregnant girlfriend / wife or whatever they're doing.
The world's falling apart, but you probably
it's probably not the best. But yeah,
it's like, nobody gets a pass like that. Like,
yeah. They have sex in the like I think on a side boat in the aquarium right next to it. And so that happens. And then we kick off Seattle day 2. Abby wakes up from nightmares of the sirens in the hospital. It's such a fucking good scene because later we get to deal with a lot of Ellie's trauma of like dealing with what she's previously seen and having panic attacks and such. And to show that Abby can't get through the fucking night, even after killing Joel. Joel's dead. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You can't get through the night. It makes a lot of sense.
Well, she didn't get the set. Yeah.
And so Seattle day 2, she then returns to the trailer to save Lev and Yara from pursuing Seraphites. Abby returns to the aquarium where Alice and Mel have arrived looking for Owen. And they're like, hey, Mel, you're a nurse. Can you help Yara? And she's like, I can. I just need you to go and get me equipment. It's very reminiscent, I think, of Billstown from The Last of Us 1 being like, hey, I can get your job done, but we need a gameplay moment.
That's just video games at that
we
point.
Need
it's
video,
like, hey,
we need video
let's
games.
kill a couple hours. I need you to go collect some shit.
Abby takes Lev out to the city for supplies to the the Lake Hill Seattle Hospital. They fight a bunch of infected. And then Abby walks in, but is soon apprehended by Isaac, who's ordered her to be captured. It's a whole shit show. Sometime during this, Abby faces the Rat King, which is the giant infected beast in the bottom of the hospital or a hotel or something. It's a whole situation, but it's also just like one of those gameplay moments that I'm like, they allow you to kill big monster. It's fun.
You need that.
It's good stuff.
That's why, like I said earlier, it's like we're ripping through the story, but there's such good gameplay when it comes to this game. Like, because I looked up the type of zombies there were, and we went over it earlier when we stopped at bloaters and stuff. But there are a very like seldom moments in these games, like 1 or 2 moments where there are bigger fucking beasts
so
like
you're
that.
like, oh, I'm gonna face bloaters throughout this game. It's like, nope, we got a giant dude. Nora goes and helps Abby escape to the basement where they find the supplies. Once again, Nora, and I love the storytelling. I love the storytelling of all this. Nora is soon to be captured by Ellie. Nora, when she's running away from Ellie and everything, is trying to fucking find Abby.
Yeah, this place
like
is,
stuff like that is so good in this game.
So crazy, yeah.
Because I love that they do 2 things during this entire side. When you're playing as Ellie, you're going after Abby's crew, and it's whatever. But when you're playing as Abby, you obviously have the side characters like Manny, Nora, Owen, Mel. But the random people that are existing in the world, and once again, you don't think about the other people that are existing within your world, and you probably should more and care for those people. Anyways, you go and these gameplay moments are happening, and it's like you're on the bottom floor of the hospital, Ellie's on the top floor, and Nora is just in the middle floor. It's like just hanging out, and then you go and talk to her, and you're like, help me out, and cool, we find the supplies. Abby collects the supplies, and then after killing the Rat King and everything, they leave the hospital. Her and Lev leave. There's a moment I skipped over where they have to go over a high rise. It is Abby and Lev, and Abby is terrified of heights. And it's like, this game does such a good job of humanizing Abby. She's just a fucking person. And like, there's moment after moment after moment after moment where this game is just begging the player to say, Abby's a person. And she has her own shit, as the way that every person in the entire world has their own shit that they deal with. And her being afraid of heights, her dealing with trauma, her dealing with these characters that are new and introduced, in the way that she treats Lev and Yara with care and compassion is just like, fuck, dude. They get it. Like,
it's like to Ellie, it's like she might seem like a piece of shit, but it's like I might seem like a piece of shit to some other people, but for why?
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
Like
it's all in the eye of the beholder. So that night, Mel operates on Yara. They go and remove Yara's arm. Seattle, day 3. I'm gonna use the restroom real quick as we go and kick off another break before we get to Seattle, day 3. We're gonna grab another round of beers also. Seattle, day 3. We are back from the restroom break. Brady's about to go and cap off his number 5 beer. Oh, are you?
those are all empty.
Those are all empty.
So I got number 5 on deck. So we got 3 shots in us. I have 4 White Claws in me. I'm about to pop number 5.
Yeah, so this is officially Drunk Explains.
Yeah. It's not good.
We have made it to Drunk Explains.
You want to do Final Fantasy 7 after this? We might as well just roll it.
Do you know how long the Final Fantasy 7 story would take to explain for all of it?
Well, because there's a lot more. There's
5
more
hours.
characters and stuff, and it's just like, well, it's easy for The Last of Us because you just like introduce a character and you're like, they're dead. To where The Last of Us, you're like, you got to introduce a character and then like and explain everything.
And go through the rounds of like, they exist in this timeline, and then they exist in this timeline, and then there's a 4-year flashback.
And also, this game happened, but they remade it, and But no, we're talking about The Last of Us. Let's go on. Seattle.
We need to go, and here's the thing. Somebody in the comments right now, if you're still watching, give us a Patreon goal for the Final Fantasy 7 or Drunk Explains.
They're going to be like, go to Thailand, train to be a UFC fighter.
Yeah. It's a long run there. All right, ready? Last of Us, part 2.
Seattle,
day 3. All right, Lev flees from the aquarium to go back to his mother on Seraphite Islands. Yara knows that their mother will go and kill Lev for breaking Seraphite tradition. And is like, hey, we got to go and rescue Lev. And Abby is like, yep. 2 days into Lev and Yara, Abby's all in on both of them. It's just like, we will do whatever it takes. I will save both of you. Abby goes and meets up with Manny. At this point, day 3 of Seattle, Manny is the fucking dude. We like Manny a whole bunch.
We stand for Manny.
Abby meets Manny at the marina, helps him advance up on a sniper. This is a fun gameplay sequence. The reveal is the sniper is Tommy, who was just sharpshooting.
I forgot. Yeah. There was a part in the first game or whatever, where that sniper was Tommy.
So good. And once again, Tommy's military trained. Like Tommy's a fucking hell of a shot.
Sharpshooter.
Yeah, like there's a great line in the show where Tommy's like, yeah, I can smoke a clicker from 120 clicks out. I don't know if that's the line. That is just whatever. But like, and then Joel's like, you're full of shit or whatever. But it is, Tommy still was in the military. Tommy does know how to go and fire a sniper rifle decently well from long distance. And so it's such a good gameplay moment. They're like sneaking up, trying to go and get around there. Manny gets smoked by Tommy. Manny gets bye-bye by Tommy. And in this moment, this is the first death, I think, on the Abby side of things that I'm like, fuck, I like Manny. Like, Manny was cool.
That's where you start, caring for him. You're like, fuck.
So Manny gets shot by Tommy. Yara saves Abby, and they assume that Tommy's drowned in the pier as Abby and Yara push forward to try to save Lev. Like, Tommy gets, I think, gets shoved off or something. Like, it's like, oh yeah, Tommy died. He dropped. Whatever. Tommy's still alive. Obviously, we know that from Ellie's side of the story and everything. But both those characters, like, cool. We're done with Tommy. Manny's dead, but like, we're gonna push forward. So they finally reach the island before the WLF roll in and launch their full-scale invasion that gets brought up once again. Day 1, Isaac was like, hey, this is what's up. This is what's going to happen. This whole island sequence is really wild to me because I've only played this sequence one time. I played all of Ellie's story 2 times. I fell off after playing. I got to Abby, and then I got busy with life stuff. So I've only played Ellie.
I feel like there are some slower gameplays at this point.
Well, for me, it's funny you say that because for me, the island sequence, and I was streaming it. You were watching it. Connor was also watching it.
Yeah.
I flew through this section because I don't know why. I think I stealthed all of it.
Yeah.
Where I just there was 30 bodies in front of me, and I never encountered
That's
one of them.
the cool part about this game is you can decide to do that.
The stealth mechanics in this game are the best in any game ever.
They're really good when it gives you the option to sneak past a bunch of shit by just stealthing. It's all right, it's not forcing you into any gameplay mechanics. It's like if you just do this, you can move on. But yeah, dude, this part felt a little drawn out for me when I was playing, but apparently not to you.
Apparently not to me. I beat The Last of Us Part 2 in 20 hours, which is well under the normal time.
I think I was at
says.
24, I think.
Yeah, 24 for most people. 24 to 5 is what I've heard often. Cheers.
Cheers, brother.
And so this was, I think, the largest section that I made time up on. It wasn't on purpose. I wasn't trying to fly through the story. I think legitimately, I was like, I'm going to stealth this section.
I appreciate it. Yeah. I appreciate the gameplay. I always appreciate games like this where it's you had a different experience in the section than I did.
For sure.
It makes it more interesting for us to have a conversation about it.
Absolutely. So we're fighting through the Seraphites. We're trying to make this whole island work. War is hitting, and once again, day one it gets alluded to. This war's been going on for a while between the WLF and the Seraphites, but this is full out assault on the Seraphite island.
Yeah, they're trying to crush them.
The duo finally finds Lev at the siblings' house, who they went and killed their mother because the mother was about to kill them for going against Seraphite traditions, and they were like, I got to kill my mom in self-defense. They're crying. Lev is at this point just I can't believe what I just did. Yara and Abby are like, we gotta go because what is about to happen is going to be a shit show. The group sneak away from the island and then cross Isaac's WLF squad. This is one of the more cinematic moments of the game where it is Isaac versus Abby, and it's the Seraphites versus the WLF. Yara kills Isaac in this sequence, and then sacrifices herself so Lev and Abby can escape. Sad, brutal moment. Yara is such a good character, in my opinion.
Yeah.
All we get introduced for Yara's entire story is Yara's got a shit show of a situation going on between getting her arm brutally crushed and then amputated and then having to sacrifice herself. But I think that she's a phenomenal character. And then Abby and Lev get to escape.
It kind of pays homage to the whole Tess situation. It's let me sacrifice myself. Yep. So leave you guys or let you guys go so I can.
We saw this on the other side.
Yeah.
Now we're seeing it now.
On their side.
Exactly.
We've all been through it.
I wrote this note, and I love this note because I remember this so well. Abby and Lev steal a horse, and they are riding through the entire environment shit show that is happening around the island. Buildings are burning. They're trying their best to escape. It is so fucking intense. At any moment, I'm so afraid that Lev or Abby is going to take an arrow to the side and
get just waiting for some shit to happen.
Yeah, I'm so afraid of all that. Finally, they get to the edge of the island. They steal a boat. They leave the two different groups, fighting each other. They get back to the aquarium. They find Alice, Mel, and Owen dead. It's these characters at this point on Abby's side that we've got to know, especially Owen, who is such a tough character. He's not perfect. Yeah. He's a really in my opinion, cheating is a really bad thing that a person can do.
Not great. Can't do that. Yeah.
But you want to root for him in the sense of he believes in the hope of the Fireflies. He believes in the
you're not
hope.
A total piece of shit, right?
Yeah, it's the fact that he wouldn't kill
humanity's still on the line.
He wouldn't kill a Seraphite on the mindset of humanity, that.
Yeah.
That is what he cares about. So they go find those three dead. Lev finds the map that Ellie, I believe it was Ellie, it might have been Tommy or Jesse, but I believe it was Ellie, drops in that moment. They find the map and they have the theater pinpointed out. That's where we're holding up. And they're going to go break into the theater. Cuts to the theater. Abby sneaks up, finds Tommy, clocks him in the face. And here we are. The pinnacle, the climax of this game. By definition, no matter what you think of what's the most important part of this game, by definition, this is the climax of the game. This is the pinpoint of the entire story. We have gone 3 days of Seattle for Ellie. We've gone 3 days of Seattle of Abby. And both are some of the wildest rides I've ever taken in any video game ever. At this point, I want to go, before we hop into the next phase, we did this channel. We started up this channel. I went and pitched you and Connor, right?
Yeah.
I'm in college. I didn't have a job yet in Cincinnati. Wild to think about. I pitched you and Connor, and we did the channel name on that day. But more importantly, by far more importantly, I pitched what would be Co-op 64 in the sense of we're going to do short form content. This is what it's going to be. Every single day we're going to post. We discussed if I lived in Cincinnati or not. I was like, I'm going to live in Cincinnati. We'll make it happen.
Yeah.
We pitched all this. Connor at that point is really fun. He's like, move up here. I don't fucking care. Let's make this happen. I got a day job. It worked out. Whatever. All this was leading to us trying to figure out a schedule. And on that initial pitch, I had Mondays as Connect 4. I had Saturdays as blind ranks. Connor pitched top 10s for that Wednesday. Drafts were on Sunday. We get this whole pitch together. I can pull up the doc. I love going back every now and then and seeing that because it was so simple. And then we've just grown. It's been a beautiful journey. And I told Connor in that moment, for those who don't know, Connor knows a lot more about video games than the two of us.
Yeah, combined.
He's played a lot more games than both Brady and I. And I told Connor, I said, hey, I want you to do a top 50 series. And he was like, okay, what does that mean? I'm like, I want you to do your top 50 games, 50 to 1. And he goes, okay, I'll do that. And then I was like, by the time we get to number 1, I think that video does 10, 20,000 views. Once again, that's just where we were at the channel at the time.
Which is crazy. Even that would have been fucking...
It would have been wild at the time. It would have been insane. And he's like, really? I'm like, yeah. And so I go and pitch him that. He then sends both of us a list.
Mm-hmm.
And he puts The Last of Us Part 2 at the top of the list.
Goddamn right he does.
I sat there for probably a month without saying a word about it. I said, that's okay. That was the first thing I said. To clarify, I always trust Connor. Connor is very smart when it comes to video games. So if he thinks that The Last of Us Part 2 is the best game ever, I'll agree with that. I sat there and then I was also like, oh, it's a controversial game. Maybe we'll get some views, whatever, at the time. As I've sat with it and reflected on this, I do not think The Last of Us Part 2 is the greatest game of all time. I don't. It's not roughly in that area for me. It's top 10.
Mm-hmm.
It's not number 1. I think that there's 5 to 7 games that are clearly above it. With that being said, this is the moment as we get to Abby's perspective where I was completely convinced. I was like, they fucking got me. I love Abby.
Yeah.
And as she's beating Tommy in the head with a pistol, just bah! Tommy drops, ready to go. I was like, yeah, this is never going to be the wrong answer to what is the greatest game of all time. And so when Connor pitched me, and he's like, no, this is my list. I think Connor changed 4 things total where he just swapped two picks.
When you're down, if you're under the top 10, it's whatever, fucking move shit around.
Yeah.
It's not changing anything.
I love Connor's top 10 so much because Metal Gear Solid, I think, is the number 10 choice. And I'm like, Metal Gear Solid has a easy claim. Easy, because it holds up today. So a big part of it. Easy claim to be the number 1 game of all time. And I think 10 to 1. all of them have an easy claim to be the number one game of all
Yeah.
time. Connor did a phenomenal job with that series. This is the moment, though, that I go and continuously reflect on, that I'm like, Connor has a really good point, that this is the greatest game of all time.
There is no other game that has such gut-wrenching moments.
Yeah.
Dude. Just like fucking
banger moment after banger moment.
Yeah. It's insane.
Or you can dial it back to, once again, I can't rank more than 3 moments in a video like this, but like when Tommy kills Manny and you're just like, fuck, I really liked Manny. Manny,
shit, but I like Tommy too.
Yeah, but exactly. Like, it's so good.
You're like, I don't know who to care about right now. Fuck, I just want everybody to like each other.
Yeah. Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? Oh, why can't we be friends? We live a very blessed life, Brady, that this is part of our job.
If that doesn't get clipped with us singing We Be Friends, cheers. I don't know what will.
So, yeah, it's a brilliant team. This is, like I said, though, one of the moments I'm like, yeah, if someone says it's the greatest game of all time, sign me up, right? It's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
I don't care.
My John Hancock at the bottom of that.
Yeah,
I agree with that one. Boom.
And so then we go to the theater scene. Abby aims to gun at Ellie, but Tommy intervenes. Abby shoots Tommy in the head. Ellie goes backstage. Abby and Ellie brawl and fight. And you are chasing down Ellie.
Hold on.
You can get there. I'm using my notes a lot more than you, but also there's so many flashbacks in this game. There's so many flashbacks.
Yeah. Okay, go on.
Abby and Ellie brawl. It ends, and Abby, who is built for this situation, literally built for this situation, she's ready to mess Ellie up in the same way that she was ready to mess Joel up. Defeats Ellie and Dina. Abby prepares to kill Dina by slitting her throat. Lev intervenes and convinces her not to do so because Ellie screams out she's pregnant. Abby in that moment says, good. A dehumanizing moment. You fucking destroyed my life. You destroyed everyone I love. You destroyed me. You destroyed my dad. I don't fucking care. And Lev in that moment is able to pull Abby out of it and say, don't. We're good. It's okay. And Abby doesn't. Abby finds humanity. Abby finds love and care and compassion.
She's like, why am I fucking
Why
doing
the
this?
fuck am I doing this?
Yeah.
I have my family.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
I've lost enough. Yeah.
Abby leaves, warns Ellie, don't try to find me.
Don't come after me.
We're done.
This is in like...
She lets Dina, who's pregnant, and Ellie, who has fucking murdered many of her friends, live.
Mm-hmm.
Abby gets over it. And this is the moment that I look to all the people that are like, The Last of Us 2, I wanted to still kill Abby. I'm like,
bro,
she let them
you
live.
swap the stories, you'd be saying the other thing. It's like, yeah.
You let them live twice.
Yeah.
She, in that moment, and people bring up the fact that they were like, I didn't want Ellie to see Joel die, like in that scene. It is Abby, and you need to bring the humanity aspect into it because there are players that would not find it where it is Abby let them live. Abby let them live. Beat you over the head to say that Abby let them live. Abby leaves, warning Ellie to not cross her. Again, 1 year later.
Before you do this, that whole entire fight scene was just
It's so
insane.
good.
Like they're like out in like a
It's a theater.
foggy, like swampy kind of lake area, and it's just like
No. Back it up. That's later in the game. It's theater. They're
are we
in the
not
theater.
there? Oh, fuck.
No, they're in the theater first. Yep.
Still, it's graphic as fuck.
Yeah, they're in the theater. You're dealing with like trying to like drop sandbags and random shit.
Yeah.
We're gonna get there later, but it is in this moment. It is. I've always said like I love literature. I know that sounds dumb because I talk about video games.
Doesn't sound dumb. You're smart, dude. You're so smart.
But no, we're talking about video games, and often it doesn't get brought up the fact that like I every year in college study literature. I love reading books. I love going in diving deep on stories that like are extremely impactful. I love storytelling. I think that that's the biggest point.
Well, that's what I did.
Yeah.
Not to plug the Co-op 64 podcast, but that's why I love the Co-op 64 podcast. It's just storytelling. It's
Yeah,
like
it's
just
literally you tell story. You tell story.
I tell a story.
There was a moment during the latest Co-op 64 podcast. Once again, patreon.com/Co-op64. It is, in my opinion, one of the best pieces of content we put out.
If you like this, it's just this. So.
Yeah.
Except we're not talking about the
but
last
like you and then Connor were telling stories about jobs. And it went you, Connor, you, Connor, you. And for a shocking moment, Nikki Two Shoes was silent for like 30, 40 minutes. And then I was like, oh shit, it's my turn to talk. But I'm like, Kyle Bosman, Easy Allies fame. He now helps out with the Jeff Keighley team for Game Awards and everything. He's one of my favorite people when it comes to the entire industry. There was a moment, Ben Hansen bringing this up from the MinMax when he was doing his exit interview from Easy Allies. And he's just like, there's a moment where Kyle Bosman on a podcast told another co-host that brought up a great point. He goes, nice Damiani. And like, it was a moment that like a lot of people would skip over. But Kyle recognized in that moment that it was like, you're so good at podcasting. You're so good at what you're currently doing. There was a moment halfway through you and Connor and you going back through on jobs that I was like, nice. Like, shit, so
I
good.
just had it.
Like, this is such a good podcast.
There was such a good compliment you gave me like after we shot the Uncharted 4 spoiler podcast.
Oh, dude, you were
like, dude, you were in your zone. And I was like, thanks, dude.
Dude, you.
Thanks.
Once again, we're just having fun at this point. But like, yeah, during the Uncharted 4 podcast, there was a moment like 25 minutes in that I remembered Kyle Bosman's quote and everything. I'm like, Brady's on one right now. And then we're like 40 minutes in. I'm like, Brady's really good at this podcast
we do this for a living. Like, we're humans. It's like sometimes like I'm going to have good days. I'm going to have bad days. And then you're like, you're fucking...
but some days you're on it. Some days you're doing a great job.
Dude.
And
it's like,
and also, you know how I discuss you as a podcaster and everything. I'm like, I don't expect the highest thing from you, but then you always exceed. Even with Connor, when I do CGNC or CGC, where I'm just like, we're going to show up, we're going to have a great time. And then there's some times that like you had a point in the Uncharted 4 podcast that I'm like, I didn't think about that. And that is the best point that's ever been made about Uncharted 4. I was like, this is such good shit. Long way to go and say 1 year later. Sorry. So 1 year later, Ellie and Dina are now living on a farm. Dina and Jesse, Jesse's son, are also on the farm. It's JJ. So it's Dina, Ellie, and JJ. The three of them are all hanging out. Are you on your last beer?
Yeah, this is my last one.
Oh, perfect. I'm also gonna. We're gonna go the distance,
brother.
We're gonna go the distance.
Yeah.
So 1 year later, the three of them, they're living on the farm. Ellie is suffering from PTSD of the Joel incident, the entire Seattle experience.
Bro, her whole life has just been
rough.
She's been like, she grew up in the pandemic. Like, dude, there's literally like she had no like
she didn't have a childhood.
Joel and all these other people. I guess not Abby, but like some other like they had a
Tommy
sense of Tommy
and Jerry, who's Abby's dad,
had a sense of normalcy. Like these people, we're 30, damn near 30 years into this pandemic. It's like this is their normal. Like this is what they were born into.
Tommy then goes, and even though Ellie's dealing with PTSD and like there's many different examples of that: anxiety attacks, just really rough moments. Tommy goes and walks in, and it's like, oh shit, Tommy's alive after getting shot in the fucking head.
This was like a Game of Thrones moment. Where you're like, okay, what the fuck?
There's a moment, if you want to dig deep enough, there's a clip on Twitch of me seeing Tommy alive for the first time.
You're like,
I'm just like, what? Like it took me, like, Tommy's on screen, and then Tommy's on screen for like 2 seconds. Then he's on for 4 seconds, and that's when it finally clicks. Where I'm like,
you're like, huh, who's that?
Tommy's still alive after getting shot in the head. Oh, once again, we're going into sad storytelling moment. Tommy goes, and the word I want to use is probably not the proper word, but begs Ellie to go and continue her chase of Abby, because Tommy can't do it. Tommy, when he got shot in the head, now has a little bit of a limp in his leg. Mm-hmm. He's not able to go and be the force that he was when he initially chased down Abby. But Ellie's still good to go. So Tommy, in that moment, says, yeah, I betrayed basically my wife multiple times at this point. To go and say, even being here is like, not okay. And so Tommy tries to convince Ellie, hey, I know where she is. Please avenge him. And Ellie says, I don't know if I can do that.
It's like, what's the fucking point?
Ellie.
Or you start crying.
Then plays the guitar.
This is the point where it's just like, fuck.
And we go to the flashback of the night before Joel's death in the barn scene. This is the scene that is revealed in 2018's 2018 or 2019's E3 presentation. Ellie and Jesse are watching Dina dance with just random people. It gets revealed that Jesse and Dina just broke up. Ellie says, 2 weeks, y'all will be back together. It's whatever. Like, don't worry about it. And Jesse's like, did she say something? It's the perfect.
It's like, I think this is how it goes. Like,
I think that this scene is perfect. And we talk about all the time in video games that 10 out of 10 means masterpiece to the Co-op 64 team. Not perfect. Perfect is a very hard thing to achieve.
It's very subjective.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think that this scene is perfect.
Yeah.
Ellie then starts dancing with Dina. They joke, they laugh, and then they kiss. Perfect moment.
Mm-hmm.
Life in general for Ellie in this moment is the happiest we've seen her during this probably entire game. And some dude interrupts it and says some nasty language to the two ladies. Joel intervenes. Ellie says, you have fucking no right to intervene. It's not your job anymore. Dina and Ellie walk off. Joel agrees. You're right. I don't. I'm sorry. That's the end. And then we're on to chasing Abby. Dina says, don't go. Ellie says, I gotta go. And we're chasing Abby. That flashback with the entire barn scene, by the way, is like, in my opinion, like it is.
They have like some sense of normalcy in their life, and it's just like
it also gets ruined by
they're
some
begging
dick.
for it. Yeah.
Like,
And but painfully, it like almost like painfully like it makes it's like normalcy is this. And it's like they just
it's
like
so tough.
The way he treats them, it's just like.
But like, there's
some pieces of shit in this world.
Yeah,
like,
there's still some moron ruining all this. But it's like, can we just be happy? It's the far one.
Yeah, sorry. I have like a bunch of empty cans in front of me. I'm like, which one has beer in it?
Santa Barbara.
Holy fuck. Yeah. That.
I think that scene, and so when I go and rewatch, which I do often because I want to have expertise when it comes to presentations, I've rewatched that barn scene 7 or 8 times probably in my life.
Yeah.
The dynamics between Ellie, Jesse, Ellie, Dina, Ellie, Joel, I'm like, fuck, dude. It is perfect.
Yeah.
And like, I mean it in every sense of the dialogue. I cannot, as the viewer, imagine them making it better. Like when it comes to those 3 characters' dynamics. Like, I'm like, you are... Ellie's 19. Ellie still has like this idea of love and compassion and wants to be cared for and cares about Dina, and they do a great job. They do a great job with the camera shot of like Ellie is on the side bar drinking a whiskey, or I think it's a whiskey, drinking a whiskey or some other drink, and she's watching Dina dance, and I'm like, she cares for this person so much. It establishes it
In that
so
bar scene,
well.
like they're begging for some sense of normalcy, and then,
and
then
the conversation between her and Jesse is such a normal human conversation. Like, she's tearing up the dance floor, she's having fun, and then Ellie's like, "You guys are gonna be back together in 2 weeks." Like, I'm like, all of this, every line of dialogue, dude. Neil and the team, holy shit, you guys are killing it.
I'm so excited to see what the show does. Yeah, just to do a little tangent and like break off for a second. The show,
By the way,
it's like because the show breaks off like halfway through the first game. Like,
yeah, our plan is currently to do the show halfway through the season, do spoiler cast. At the end of the season, do spoiler cast. Yeah. Brady, you're invited to both of them. It will be Connor and I, but Brady's invited to both. If you, and I assume that it would be on the finale spoiler cast for sure to talk about the whole season. But we'll deal with that later.
But I'm so excited for this show because I was taking these notes and there was a guy at work who like kind of hovered over my shoulder while I was taking the notes. I was like, dude, you can't watch this because he never played the game, but he watched the show. I was like, bro, if you read one sentence, you're cooked right now. like he's
for
like,
sure.
Joel died. Like, dude, like you gotta stop watching. Good.
How's it 2:20
Are you
right
feeling
now?
good? I know. This has gone way longer than we.
I thought an hour and a half.
I know we're just yapping. Well, first off, I yapped for the first game for like an hour.
Well, I for me, I was like, it's gonna be 2 hours. You're gonna go for an hour. I'm gonna go for an hour. I'm sorry.
No, we're having
a great time.
No, we're cooking. We got to give the people what they want.
Yeah.
And by the people, I mean me and you.
Yeah. If you're watching right now, comment pineapple on the comments below. All right.
Comment what? Pineapple?
Pineapple. Great word.
Okay, good.
Santa Barbara. Ellie is going to go and chase down the Lev and Abby duo down in Santa Barbara. That's where Tommy said that the people were.
Tommy's like, please do this. Like,
dude,
Ellie's like, Ellie's ready to call it.
Tommy begs for him to let. He's like,
Joel's dead. Like, why am I doing this?
In my opinion, as a character, very dynamic. I would love to see a spin-off game with Joel and Tommy. Did you? You haven't. I've probably heard about this. Neil, when they did the Last of Us 2 documentary, which I watched all of because I love that shit. Brought up the fact that there was at one point a conversation of a spin-off game that was Tommy and Joel's experience in between the 20 years before Ellie. It's like, dude, Tommy's got that dog in him.
Yeah, if you want to make more, honestly, I would almost prefer them to do that than like continue the story. I think this is where the story has ended, which we'll get to.
Yeah,
it's just perfect ending. If I think I would love for them to go back and do something like that, honestly, over continuing the story.
Oh shit, I'm definitely crying at the end of this.
Nick feels the tears working.
Yeah, no, it just kind of hit me.
Yeah. Nick, he knows what's coming.
Abby and Lev in Santa Barbara are trying to find the Fireflies. They locate a radio station. They learn that a group has moved to Cantalina Island. I probably butchered that. Cantalina Island.
Cantalina.
Yeah. They try to attempt to get there, and then they get raided and get hit by a group known as the Rattlers. They get captured. They get tortured by this group that is trying to enslave them. Ellie then arrives to Santa Barbara and finds the Rattler base. Whole bunch of gameplay moments up here, stealth gameplay, going through it. Ellie breaks free the prisoners and learns that from the leader that Abby and Lev have been strung up on a beach, left to die. Before we continue on with the story, this is the moment that I'm like, as a player, I am begging at Ellie, fucking leave.
Yeah.
You don't need to do it. You don't need to be the person that cuts the blade.
Like, leave her. Just leave her. Like, yeah.
You left your life, and we didn't discuss this, but like Dina, you and JJ were dancing in your living room, having fun. You and me are gonna be dancing during Elimination Chamber tonight. Like we're not in a zombie apocalypse. Like you were living your fucking life. Leave.
Like you literally have. There's nothing for you. There's no reason for you to fucking do this right now. It's just like walk away. Walk away.
Yeah. So
hard
let
crack.
me crack it first.
Hard
Come
crack.
on.
So where are we? Give us a.
You're at 9. I'm also 9.
Well, no, I'm talking about the beers. I'm talking about the game.
Ellie decides I'm not going to leave. Ellie breaks and frees the prisoners, learns where Abby and Lev are. She sets out to the beach, and both Abby and Lev are out there. She frees Abby and Lev. They walk towards a boat. Lev is passed out, skinny, has been set out to die, hung up.
Yeah, Lev is just like a fucking side product of the situation.
But once again, like Lev already was a small bird.
Yeah, well, Lev was just like dragged into this whole situation.
But also Lev is, and in my opinion, like such a good beacon for humanity when they tell Abby to let Dina live and stuff like that.
Oh, absolutely.
And so like when we're talking about all this, it's like Lev though is like has childlike wonder still on the horizon of like.
Of somebody who's born in this era,
yeah,
like
exactly.
Lev is like does a good job of like representing of like who she came from, and like it's like I'm a product of this fucked up situation, but like I still have love.
So Lev goes and is in the boat. Abby is trying to get in the boat. Ellie says, "You're gonna fight me."
And I mean, this is where I was earlier.
Abby and Ellie fight. This is personally, I don't think it's the best moment of the game or anything like that.
No.
I don't think it's the best moment in all the Last of Us.
I don't even think, honestly,
but,
when it comes to like top 10 like end of the game fighting, like I don't think it's really even
I don't think it's great
there, but it's still really good.
I know that this is all personal.
It's not even like the sequence and like the situation like and like the world around them that like is really good. It's more of like the emotions of like of what the two of them have been through, and it's like it's not like how they're fighting or what, but it's like what they're fighting for. You know?
For sure. Yeah. Abby at this point doesn't care. Ellie cares fully.
Yeah.
The moment that hits me the hardest and hits home is as someone that plays guitar every day and has played guitar every day probably since 2019.
Bro, the end of this.
Abby bites off the two pinky and ring finger of Ellie's right hand.
I forgot about that. That's crazy. Yes.
For me, dude,
you're like, oh fuck, the one humanity thing, like the one love that she had left with like her father and the one connection she had. It's like, yeah, bitch, like I'm taking away what you. If you're killing me, this is what I'm fucking taking from you,
dude. I
forgot. I fucking forgot about that. Dude.
Straight up, dude.
I forgot about her taking.
I don't know if you. So I played this game in 2020. I started playing guitar in 2019, and I played guitar every day since I learned 2019.
You're so good at it.
Thanks.
You're very talented. You are very talented.
I'm trying my best.
You're multifaceted. It's very impressive.
I spend a lot more time playing games than guitar nowadays.
Yeah.
But for those who don't know, I played drums since I was like 11. I was a drummer, and then I learned guitar after the fact. So when Abby takes, and I this might sound dumb, when I saw the scene, the first thing I thought of was guitar. I know it sounds dumb because like you're getting your fucking fingers bit off.
Which almost like it's not what they want.
But
it makes so much sense to the story. Though.
Well, yeah, everything that we've seen with the amount of flashbacks with Ellie and everything.
Well,
but for
just
me,
the fact that Joel taught her.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
It's the first moment of the fucking game. But when I see that, I immediately go to
it's big. Brain.
If you were to ask me like, you can lose your fingers or anything else, I'm like, I would do whatever. Like I love playing guitar so much. I can't sing for shit. Drums are loud as fuck. I take guitar as like my personal escape from everything. Like it is the only moment that I know that I have full control of. And when I imagine Ellie is playing this game, I understand through the flashbacks, through the moments that are so goddamn good, where it lets you play as Ellie and you're playing the guitar notes and everything. I know for a fact that Ellie as the character is taking those moments there's shit all around them as a character. Ellie is saying like, I'm gonna take my moment. I'm gonna take my escape.
I'm turning my brain off.
It's 5 minutes. It's 15 minutes. It's an hour. Whatever it is, I have this for myself. And Abby rips that away from the character.
Yeah.
And this is the first moment. And if you watch me play this game, and you did, you and Connor both did. In that moment, and it's really funny. I saw the scene. I had to delete it because Twitch ruined their highlights. Anyways, they only 100 hours of highlights now, so you got to go and erase a lot of content. I react in a way that is straight up pain. Like I'm like, ooh, like because like, and it's not the like I can deal with a lot more gruesome stuff apparently because I did earlier in the game, but this. For me, as someone that loves the guitar and knows so well that I'm like, oh, cool. It's their left hand. If it's their right hand, they can strum still. Their left hand, you can't play chords. You can't play notes.
Dude.
You can't.
Yeah.
You can't
it's
do
like the one piece that she still has to like remember her fucking like the whole entire journey. The fucking one piece that she still has. It's like to rip that away from her. Like it's just like. It's very cinematic and emotional, dude. Like,
so Abby bites off Ellie's fingers. It's really for those who don't know, we wrote notes on this. I have my notes up. I brought that out as a singular point in this fight, and it's like when I typed that, I started crying because like, it is.
Dude, well, yeah, I didn't because I did game 1, and so I didn't get too deep into game 2. But I did pop into it. I got ahead of myself earlier, where I started talking about this fight and how it was like swampy and foggy, and like this just like the whole cinematic like aspect of this fight is just insane. Like I know we're just telling the story right now, but like to visualize it is one thing. Like it is just like. It is deep. So emotional and deep, and they were digging themselves into mud and just like foggy fucking swamp. So and it is so good.
They're trying to get to the like as you've vacationed with me to some places. When you're in a like ocean, but it's deep sand, and when you step, there's a cloud of dust that appears, like all that type of stuff. That's where they're at, where it is. They're so close to the ocean. Abby and Lev are so close to getting to the Fireflies. And at this point of the game, personally, I know certain people disagree with me. I disagree with them. I always will.
This is where personally, it becomes controversial.
I am begging Abby and Lev to get to the Fireflies. I think when you're in the darkness, look for the light. I'm like, get to the fucking Fireflies. We didn't hit on
that enough. Yeah.
Like, this group... At the end of the day, whether they are right or wrong, what they believe is so right of like, we just want to rebuild the world. And they were the fucking group that wanted to rebuild the world through Ellie.
It's what brought me, or what I said earlier. Dude, it's like, we didn't hit on that enough, where it's like, go to the light. one of their sayings is like, go to the light.
Yeah. Well, when you're in the darkness, look for the light.
Look
Yeah.
for the light. We didn't hit on that enough. And but in this world, it's like they think they're the good people and they're like doing the good thing, but it's like, so do Joel and Ellie. So does Tommy. It's like in this world, like nobody's a good person.
Yeah.
It's like everybody think like the military, the soldiers, they think they're doing good.
Yep.
The Fireflies, they think they're doing good. Like,
and so when we
everybody
get
thinks they're
down
doing
to
good.
these two characters, it's like they both think that they're doing the right thing. They fight. Abby fights for Lev. But Abby's not fighting for herself in this. Like when Ellie holds Lev up at knife point, Abby goes in. It's just like, fuck, I guess I gotta do it. Like, but she didn't want to initially.
No.
So they
At
fight
this
each
rate,
other.
nobody knows what they're fucking fighting for. Or like
I'm gonna take the reins for the rest of this.
please say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm here.
Ellie begins to drown Abby. There's a brief flash to seeing Joel. It's a moment. It's a moment where she's strangling and drowning Abby, and she sees Joel's face. And she stops because she has some humanity left in her. She lets Abby and Lev leave to Catalina Island. It flashes forward to seeing Ellie arriving at the farm. When she sees that Dina and JJ have left, she picks up the guitar. Her left hand no longer has two of her fingers, so she's unable to play all the notes to future days. And it flashes back to the last moments after the barn with Joel and Ellie. Where Ellie walks up to the porch, tells Joel that he had no right to go and intervene with Dina in hers moment. Joel asks, as any father should, to their partner, hey, are you going to treat her right? Is this going to be a good relationship? Is this your girlfriend? She says, I don't know. Ellie brings up the fact that her life would have fucking mattered
My life would have had a purpose.
if you let me die in that hospital all those years ago. Joel says, if the Lord gave me another chance at that moment, I would have done it all over again. Ellie, in a moment of humanity and love, decides, I don't know if I can forgive you. But I'm going to try. I think that this is the best moment in video games.
The biggest fucking thing is when he says, like, if I could do it all over, I would fucking do it again. It's like, I know we've all just been through hell right now, but like, I would fucking do it again right now, dude.
I would do. Oh.
This is the best fucking story ever.
Yeah. So Joel is.
He's like, fuck it, I'd do it again. Like, I don't give a fuck.
I would do whatever it
when
takes
he
for the
was dead
love.
through half of it. Like he was dead through half of it, and he's just like,
I would do it again.
Like,
yeah. I would do
all
it
the
whatever
pain,
it takes.
yeah,
all the
everything.
pain, all the hate, everything we experience. I would do it again because I would do whatever it takes to save your life.
Yeah,
I
know you're 3
it
for
takes to
5
save-
fingers right now, but
I would take whatever it takes to save your life.
Yeah.
And so then it flashes forward to Ellie putting the guitar down and then seemingly going to chase after her life with Dina and JJ. And that is The Last of Us Part 2. Shut up, dude.
I think I drank all my.
Are you done? You killed?
Are there 6 right here? Yeah, there
Those
is.
are 6.
I think I drank all of them.
And that is that
is the bottle.
that is the Last of Us drunk explains of The Last of Us.
That is the Last of Us drunk explains of the Last of Us.
Season. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for hanging out.
This is gonna be the end of the video. So like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. We do a bunch of podcasts on Co-op 64. We do a bunch of live streams, and obviously we do a bunch of TikToks. Thank you for joining us. I hope that this was somewhat entertaining.
We're gonna go cry and watch the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. But genuinely, thank you so much for joining us. The Last of Us 1 and 2 for Brady and I are like the most important piece of fiction that's ever existed.
The fact that we can do this and just like get drunk and talk about
if we were to do this
best
sober,
story
it would
ever.
still be 3 hours.
It would be just as bad. So, but I appreciate you. If you made it this far, I thank you for powering through. I know it was painful. But we love you. And
yeah. Well, seriously, at the end of the day, this is like our favorite thing. I joke around and I'm like, this is the best job ever. We get to get drunk and talk about our favorite shit ever. But like,
yeah, there was during the intermissions, we'd go piss and we'd be like, I can't believe we're doing this right now. Like, so
it's the best shit ever.
We really do appreciate
genuinely, if you're here at the end of the episode, thank you so much. Like, it does mean the world to both Brady and I that you would show up. It means the world to Connor also.
And if this is your first experience listening to The Last of Us, I hope you
got the story.
Yeah,
I hope that we didn't miss anything.
I hope you understood even a little bit, hopefully. But yeah.
Yeah, we tried our best. I was going for 88%. I think we hit 88%.
I think we hit a cool 60. I don't think it was that good.
I think you nailed The Last of Us 1. The Last of Us 2 is
really.
So many
I shut my
flashbacks.
brain off. I was just blabbering, dude. Like I got 2 beers and a shot to me, and I was just like spewing words.
Yeah.
So I thought you did a pretty good job. I thought we had some good banter, but
good job, buddy.
But yeah. We love you guys. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you in the next one. Peace out.
Bye.